This is Jocko Podcast number 191 with Echo Charles and me, Jocko Willink. Good evening, Echo.
Good evening.
Some nights I wake up drenched in sweat. I have dreams, and some people might call them nightmares, but that would not be accurate because I'm not scared and I'm not anxious. I'm actually amped and I'm ready. And the dream is usually about some bad situation unfolding really quickly. Some operation gone sideways. And I'm in a building somewhere or in a bunker or in a ravine of some kind. And the enemy is maneuvering. And they're bringing it. And I'm with a small group. A squad, maybe 6 or 8 guys, and we're low on ammo. And I'm about out. And one of the guys is hit, and he's hit bad, and we can't move, and we can't leave. And this is it. And the enemy is pressing closer. And I'm prepping grenades. And as I'm prepping grenades, I got my head down because they're laying down fire and the enemy is advancing and we're killing some of them, but others are getting through and the enemy fire increases. And if I'm in a building, I hear the door open up and I can hear them entering the building. And I do a quick assessment. I got 3 grenades and I got a half a mag left and I got my K-bar. And I'm ready to get it on. And I pull the pin on one of the grenades and I roll it down the hallway toward the stairs and it explodes. And then I hear RPGs launch. And one explodes a little distance away, but then the next one explodes on the wall right near me and it knocks me out. And then I come to and I check for my rifle. I'm grabbing for my rifle, but it's not there. And so I reach for my pistol, but my pistol's gone too. And then I feel for the rest of my gear. I feel for my knife. I feel for grenades and there's nothing there. All my gear is gone. I feel for wounds and there's nothing. And then I realize that I'm okay. That I'm just sweating a lot. That there's no gear, there's no guns. And I realized that I was asleep and that this was just a dream. And now I'm laying there in a pool of sweat in my bed and I'm awake. And I'm actually mad because I left my boys hanging there in my dream. And I'm also mad because I don't get that final confrontation with the enemy. And I'll sit there and close my eyes and I'll try and fall back asleep. I'll try and force myself back in there so I can finish the fight. But I can't force myself to fall back asleep, so I lie there in bed. And I start thinking about what I would have done. I start thinking if there's any mistakes that I made. I start thinking about how I could have defended that position, where I would have maneuvered to, how I could have maximized damage to the enemy. And then I think about the rest of the guys on the team. And I think if I was in that situation, who would I want with me? And this was a common topic in the teams. If you were in a desperate scenario with the odds stacked against you, if it was time for the last stand, for victory or death, who would you want with you? I have a list of those names, those men. a list of the guys I want with me in that most critical of moments. And when I think about that list, there's always one guy that comes to mind first. A guy that I've seen perform on the battlefield, not for an hour, not for a day, or not for a week, but for months on end. This guy would go out on a 3-day operation in 120-degree heat with 2 liters of water, 3 cans of Copenhagen, and twice as many bullets as anyone else. And as soon as the mission was over, he'd want to go back out again. This is a guy that can lead and that can follow, a guy that can plan and execute, a guy that never put himself above the good of the mission or above the good of his teammates. And I know without a shred of doubt that he would have rather himself be killed or wounded than watch me be killed or wounded. He would step into the line of fire, take a bullet, or jump on a grenade to protect me or any of our brothers in arms. That's the guy I'm talking about. And the other thing is, I know what he's thinking. And he knows what I'm thinking. There's no need to even talk. We were raised at the same team by the same people. We don't have to debate or discuss whether we should do this or do that. We look at each other, give a little nod, and we know what we need to do. So if I have to assault a beach or attack a bunker or storm the gates of hell, I want my brother Tony Eafrati by my side. BTF Tony. Big, tough frogman. And that's what he is through and through, and that's what he did for his entire career through 8 overseas deployments. He was one of the first guests I had on the podcast number 41. And if you haven't listened to that podcast, stop and go back and listen to it. But if you have listened to it, well, then here we go again with BTF Tony. Tony, welcome back.
Yeah, let's just...
8 deployments or 10?
10.
10 deployments.
No, but let's just get back, because I didn't want you to get wounded because you're such a monster. I'd have to carry you. And it'd be a little better if I got wounded. It'd be easier.
I could put you in my cargo pocket.
Right,
and be
yeah.
like, oh, we're good.
Yeah, BTF's great. Big, tough. I'm not big, and I'm not really tough. Just wackadoo, you know. So
last time you were on, we kind of just jumped right into going into the teams and everything. And which meant we skipped over a bunch of stuff. Not a bunch, but because I know you're going to put it. Well, how'd you grow up? Well, I grew up, and then I went in the Navy.
And then I was in the Navy, and then that's it. Yeah.
So you grew up. You grew up in New England.
Yeah, New Hampshire.
And did you play sports?
Yeah, I played hockey and baseball.
Did they issue you a hockey stick when you were born in New Hampshire?
Yeah, it's pretty much... You get one in kindergarten, and then you play street hockey, and then you learn how to, rough up your buddies, and then get your ass kicked, and then you just keep playing.
Did you play organized hockey?
Oh yeah. I played rec hockey. I played youth hockey, all the way up till I was 17.
No kidding.
Yep, played all my life, 3 years old till I think 17. Yeah.
You kept all your teeth?
Yeah, pretty much. I played mites, squirts, bantams, and midgets. There's 4 categories youth-wise. But yeah, I played a lot of hockey till I got a little bit older, and then had to work.
Yeah.
So school work, won a lot of time for it, and then I realized I wasn't going to be wicked good. So it was fun. But
yeah.
I was okay, chapter of my life, and that's it. But I still love hockey. I love it. Big fan.
And when I was a kid, we would play out on lakes because I didn't play organized hockey.
No, we did that too.
Yeah. We would tape magazines to our shins because we didn't have like the actual gear. So we would just do that. That way when you get schwacked with a puck or a stick, you're not just done.
No, but even the summers, like people my age, your age, everybody knows what I'm talking about. Like Saturday morning when you're little, your mother would give you breakfast. Like, get the hell out. Yeah. Come back at lunch. It's not like I went in my room and went on my little computer. We didn't have any of that. So we went and we threw rocks at each other or played baseball in the field. Or
yeah, you see, your mom would say, come home for lunch. My mom would just like say, get out. But then the funny thing is, when it was like, oh, it's time to eat, it'd be like, oh, cool. I'm going to get a Snickers bar and a can of Coke. That's what we ate.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's what we ate. It wasn't like, well, you need to watch your content.
Yeah, what the fuck is gluten? It was gluten, like some stuff that floats around in the sky. Like, I don't know what that is. You know, apparently people are allergic to it. I don't fucking know. You know, I always knew about the peanuts and the shellfish and all that shit, but not really. Maybe, it's on the table. You eat it, that's it. Don't eat. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
You know?
I just, the things, and even I'll catch myself, with my kids going, you don't want to drink that soda. And I'm thinking about when I was a kid, just that's all we drank. We didn't drink. First of all, there's no such thing as bottled water.
No.
Like that
still
was
back
like
home, you drink it out of the tap.
Yeah.
It's better than Avion or whatever the fuck it is, It's like the best. It's like so good. I fill up right in the sink, and it's still the best.
Yeah. So you played hockey, and then what? When you went to high school, did you guys have a hockey team at your high school?
No, the next town did, but we didn't have a high school team. They had youth hockey.
So then,
it was regional.
Did you play anything? And did you play any sports in high school?
Just baseball.
Just baseball.
Yeah, and then I sucked at it, but I played Little League, and I played into my junior high. And
I bet I sucked at baseball more than you, which was a bummer.
Yeah, I was pretty coordinated.
My dad was like a fanatic about baseball, and I was out there going, "This is the most boring thing I've ever done in my whole life ever." Like, this is I was 7 years old,
but I still
stand there.
I like it because now I watch baseball. And
I know. I get the appeal now. But what I'm saying is when I was 7-year-old freaking hyperactive youth, and my dad's like, this is a great game, and you got to understand the tactics and the strategy behind what's going on.
And you don't care about any of that.
Yeah. Because the funnest sport that I remember playing that I said, oh, this is cool, was dodgeball.
Yeah, because it's violent.
Yeah, you're like, huck the balls at the other people. That was fun. It's like highly active.
Yeah.
So
we played rec league hockey though when I was a kid too, and that was all on outdoor rinks.
That's awesome.
With wooden boards, and it'd be like 10 boys there, and they'd flood it. And then my uncle was the coach of one of the leagues, and he was terrible. Like he didn't even know how to skate, and he had no idea how to play hockey. You just kill him. We'd have checking practice for an hour. Just go out there and check each other. Like, really? I didn't. I was like, I know how to play. I know the rules. I know, and this is what we're doing. I'm like, all right, just go out there and kill each other.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. You and I were talking about the fact that hockey players are getting smaller again now.
Yeah,
there was I guess, and this is
monsters,
I went and talked to the Gulls, the San Diego Gulls. And their coach was explaining to me, because I said, man, the guys are smaller than I expected. Some of them, right?
Some of them, yeah.
And he said, I said, I thought everyone was huge now. And he said, no, because now what they figured out is these smaller, faster, quicker guys have an advantage that they can exploit. Maneuverability, just like on the battlefield, you can exploit being able to maneuver. And these smaller, quicker guys can actually maneuver faster than the bigger, lumbering guys. Now, there's position for the bigger guys, too.
Yeah, you got to have a mix.
That's what they're figuring out.
Yeah.
That's what they're figuring out. So if you were to go back in time, you might be able to hack it now.
Yeah, well, I played sports, but my real thing was like hunting and fishing and trapping. I did all that shit. So that kind of took a higher step. Like that was
that's
what I like.
The priority for you.
I like being out in the woods hunting.
Was your dad in the military?
Yes, my dad was in the Army in 60s. drafted.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't in Vietnam. He went to Germany. He was a helicopter mechanic. Had a blast in the Army, you know.
He's over in Germany like the coolest guy ever.
Yeah.
Coolest and richest guy ever.
Right. Because, you know, you like drink beer and, you know, go to work every day.
And did he talk to you about the military at all?
Well,
what made you want to join the Navy? Because you join right out of high school?
Yeah, I enlisted when I was, 6 days after I turned 17.
Dang.
So I was in delayed entry for a year, and then I left 6 days after I turned 18.
What made you want to join the Navy? Because this is the thing. This is the thing that I try and warn people about the Navy. If you want to go in the Navy and be in the SEAL teams, that's cool and everything. If you don't make it in the SEAL teams, your job is not going to be that cool. Oh, I mean, unless you're into that kind of thing, because there's some people that want to work with technology. That's cool. You'll be an IT man in the Navy, or you want to work with engines and you'll be an engine man, or you want to be a gunnersman. Like that's cool if that's what you want to do. But those are industrial type jobs.
Yeah, they're 9 to 5.
They're industrial
not really,
jobs. They're not 9 to 5, but
shit.
they're industrial jobs. They're trades.
Right.
In the Army, like if you don't make it to Special Forces, or you don't make it to Rangers, or in the Marine Corps, if you don't make it to MARSOC, you can still be an infantryman, which means you still
getting after it.
Do the machine gun thing, which is pretty much what I think most people when they join the military. Well, I shouldn't say most people. If you're even thinking about special operations, then you want to be using a machine gun.
Well,
basically.
yeah. You want to have a machine gun in everyday life, for fuck's sakes. I mean, it would come in so handy to eliminate a lot of friggin' hoss shit. Like, hey, you know what? You're waiting in traffic. Just get out. Excuse me, folks. Just shoot the light down. Okay, go. It would be so much easier. But,
There'd be a lot
it's legal, but you know.
What did you join the Navy to be, or did you just be like,
well, I wanted to be
a
a frogman, but it took me a while. It took me a couple years to go to Buds.
How did you know about this? What year was this? Like 86?
Yeah, I knew about the SEAL teams. I wanted to do it, but the thing that helped me the most was actually doing like 2 years in the fleet. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's 2 years. I could have been a team guy, but for me, I wasn't ready. I wasn't mature enough. So I needed that structure, and I learned how the Navy works. And for all you people out there and all that, I was stationed in the Philippines for 2 years. It's not like I was on a boat. I was just drinking and, you know, just being a madman. And, of course, the SEAL teams were over there, you know, the West Coast guys. I'm like, I might as well just do that. That's, like, the best. So
that's ridiculous. You're 17 years old and you get.
Well, I was 18.
You were 18, stationed in Subic.
In Subic,
as a what?
Mineman.
Oh,
I was a mineman.
God.
So it's like shore duty, you know, but it's like overseas duty. It was the best.
Insane.
It was the best.
Did they give you any kind of like briefing as this 18-year-old kid? Like, okay, you're in the Philippines now. This is what's about.
Yeah,
to
they
happen.
just tell you because it's all about. There's all kinds of hookers, and that's like the main thing back then was hookers and drinking. There was like 250 bars in like a city block, and you know I made like $200 every 2 weeks, and I always had money.
Yeah,
because it was like we'd go to like happy hour or whatever in the morning, like Saturday morning at like T's Tavern or wherever it was on Gordon Avenue. And it was like nickel for a beer. So I really like learned, I polished my drinking skills like big time over there. And of course it's 1,000 degrees out and it's just like, so much fun.
Yeah. When my first
but after
deployment,
2 years, you're just like, okay, I mean, come on.
So you actually had enough of it.
Well, I wanted to get on with, you know, I took my screen test, got orders to Buds and was like, all right. And back then, now they got this big fucking pipeline and all this. I flew in to Coronado on a Friday. Sunday, we had our class up party, which is you shave your head. There's a keg of beer. You get liquored up and then be idiots. And then Monday morning, you start. This is day one.
So you checked in on Friday, shaved your head on Sunday.
Day one.
Classed up on Monday.
That's it. Yep. Here we go.
Did you get rolled?
I got rolled in the second phase, which nobody does. I didn't get hurt. I just wouldn't leave my slim buddy.
What happened?
My swim buddy, I wouldn't leave him.
On a swim? On like a time? On like a...
Yep.
Well, you can't leave your swim buddy.
Right.
And
So what do you do?
Yeah, you fail.
Yeah. And you just
what
take
happens.
it in the shitter
Dude.
and then like the next, next class, like I was like, me and the cheese man, he's dead now.
Yeah.
We're like in the top 3 swim pairs. So I'm like,
My swim buddy...
You can't leave your swim buddy.
I failed to swim.
You can't, but you can't leave
So
your
I
swim
go,
buddy.
they bring us to the first phase office, and I'm standing there with my swim buddy, and they're like, all right, and there was 10 or 12 or 15 pairs failed to swim. So they're asking everyone, like they're calling us in the office, the first phase office, by the bell. So me and my swim buddy get called in. We're like number 7 to get called in. I couldn't hear what everyone else was saying, but I didn't know what the hell was going on. I was just like scared. I wanted to make it through this training. So we go in there, and so there's something called guiding, which is like the person that when you're swimming in the open ocean, you have to, it's basically steering, but you call it guiding for some reason. You guide so you make sure you're swimming in the right direction. So they go, you two, next pair, get in here. So we walk in, I'm standing at attention. He's like, what the hell happened to you two? And my swim buddy points at me and goes, Willink doesn't know how to guide.
Oh my God.
And I was like, and the guy was a slow swimmer. Like that was the problem. And he was one of those.
That was the problem.
Yeah. And so I'm standing there just going, damn, I just got dimed out for something I didn't even do. So I just kept my mouth shut and I was like, I'll do better. Right. And then what they did was they split us up and they put us with good swimmers. And then the same thing, like me and my new swim buddy on the next swim came in like 5th or 7th or something. I wasn't going to come in 1st or 2nd because I wasn't fast enough.
That.
No, because you got some of those fuckers in there that are swimming like 17 knots.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
But this guy failed again, and it was like, oh, maybe it wasn't Willink's guiding.
Yeah, really.
That screwed you over.
But it was all right. I just had to wait 4 weeks, 5 weeks, and got back and it was fine.
And then you graduated Buds. Were you good in the water when you showed up at Buds?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Did you grow up swimming in lakes in New Hampshire?
No, it's just something you got to do. like how many times was I in the woods with people in the teams who were from,
New York or whatever.
Jacksonville, Florida, or New York City or Chicago. They're like, what the fuck? What? Man, it's dark. Like, who would say that? Like, dark. It's dark. It's dark. It's night. What the fuck? What do you think we're going to do? Like, go, just lunch. We're going to go on lunch and the beach and, no. So that's just one of those things you had to do.
There's some people that don't do that very well.
I know.
I had a guy in my class, like a super stud wrestler from Iowa, but he never went in the water. Yeah. And dude, he was my swim buddy in like the pool phase where they're doing like the stuff in the pool with you.
Yeah, I love. I actually
you got to
like
buddy
that.
breathe and stuff on your. So we're doing buddy breathing, and this dude is taking the regulator and breathing 47 breaths in a row, giving it back to me. I'd take like a breath and a half, and he's grabbing it.
Yeah. You're like, dude, relax, chum.
And he still popped to the surface. And yeah, he didn't make it. He didn't make it because he would just freak out in the water. So, yeah, man, I was lucky. Up in Maine, as a little kid, went in the water all the time.
Yeah, the water never freaked me out. I don't know why.
It freaks some people out, man.
But that's the whole thing. You have to be competent in the water. Mm-hmm. Like when you're underneath the ship and you're de-rigging and all that, and everybody's like right next to each other and you can't see anything.
There's just like cords floating around.
Oh my God. People think like it's all, you watch the movies, they go, they show him diving, then all of a sudden they show him climbing the ship. Like, well, what about all the shit in between? You're missing like the biggest fucking portion. That's terrible. You're under there and it's like, and there's lines everywhere, and the guy's kicking you in the mask, and then you got to deal with that, and it's just fucking
There's some
terrible.
other dude that's like sinking to the bottom, dragging you down.
And it's like, why is the line? What is all this pressure going this way for? That wasn't the plan. We rehearsed this like 40 times.
And you can't communicate anything.
Nothing.
It's all just...
Yeah, it's just like... And you just, after a while, it's like survival. Like you just got to not die. And then somehow it usually works out.
Next thing you know, you're on the surface and everything is easy.
And then you got to go back. So
I
it's
think
not like
that's
it's
what makes
over.
the teams good. I think what makes the teams good is when you have to deal with all that crap of whether it's going over the beach just to do a land warfare op, but you come over the beach, or de-rigging underwater, or a combat swimmer op, or rigging the boats, or whatever. When you add the water, and it just makes it.
It's all a real world op.
So much freaking harder.
Even in training, it's real world.
Yeah, because you can drown, die.
Yeah, you can. I mean, but the buds thing, I didn't grow up surfing or any of that stuff. But the other thing is, I didn't have a plan B.
Yeah.
That was easy for me. I never even thought about quitting anything.
No.
I mean, it was like, why? There's nothing else to do.
Yeah.
I mean, everything else is just garbage and junk and I have to do this. This is what I have to do because it's like the best.
Yeah. I'd never thought about quitting at all. And it was weird. I had a guy in my class that was from the fleet. And he was like, man, you don't want to go to the fleet, dude. You do not want to go to the fleet. And blah, 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 blah. And he quit again.
Yeah, well.
And I just was like, man, really?
We had these serial quitters that come back. And dude, after a while, give up. What's that? At first you don't succeed, try again.
How many tries?
And then quit. No sense to being a damn fool about it, But I just didn't have a plan B, It was
Did you do any of the water stuff when you were in Subic Bay? Did any of the team guys show you knot tying or any of that?
No, not at all. I did dive though. I got my PADI license.
There you go.
It was cool.
That's good because diving, I've never done that, but when you go through the basic, do they do some kind of
you do buddy breathing, but it's like the big
the big beautiful regulator.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, okay, and then you take your mask off and then blow through. Yeah, okay, clear your mask and whatever.
But that's definitely helpful.
But it was fun. I mean, it was something to do besides drinking all the time. So I did that one weekend, and then I was like, I'm good.
Is that how long it takes to get one of those qualifications?
Yeah, you go through some classes, some pool, and then they take you in Subic, out to Flip Flop Island.
Oh.
It's actually really nice,
vibes.
Man. Yeah.
Yeah. Man, when I got the little card, remember you going through buds and you get, I don't know if they had this for you.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, so I got a little card that said I was a qualified.
I could go rent gear.
Diver.
Yeah, and I don't know where that is. I lost it. Fucking.
But when I had that thing, I got that, and I thought I was kind of the man. I was like, I would look at it from, being my wallet, look at it like, oh yeah, you feel like you're James
this is the
Bond.
Shit. Yeah, it's like
I felt like I was James Bond.
It's who cares? But whatever.
Not even a thing anymore.
No, nothing.
Kind of like when I got issued my first floppy hat.
Oh yeah.
I thought, well, here we go.
I've arrived.
Yeah, I'm ready to go to Nam.
I know. I know. It's that's like you said last time. I thought I was going to Vietnam that day.
Yeah,
I know, but
I still have my first floppy hat.
Oh, of course you do.
Yeah, just keep everything.
I didn't keep anything.
You're good. You might need it one day. No, I kept my floppy hat.
I don't have a shadow box. I have a shadow box that someone made me. These good friends of mine who used to do that for a living, make coins. They made it for me. It's perfect. It's in my room somewhere. It's not, I don't know where any of my medals are. I just don't care.
Yeah.
I'm just such a loser when it comes to that shit.
One time I was in my son's room when he was maybe he was probably 9 or 10 years old, and I'm looking for something. And I figured he took it, and I'm walking around
immediately. Who stole my?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, here it is.
And all of a sudden, I step on something and it's sharp, and I'm like, oh, and it's underneath a pile of my kids' clothes, and I pull it out, and it's a bunch of my medals, the little rack of medals. I'm like, oh, cool, whatever. Yeah, Leif said to me, man, we never got you anything for TU Bruiser. I'm going to get you something. He's been saying that for 10 years. I think
he's busy. He just had another.
Yeah. So that's why I don't have any kind of nothing. The guys when I retired gave me a big giant trident that's
that's pretty cool.
7 feet tall.
Really?
That. Yeah.
Wow.
I just have it in the corner with all my weightlifting bars. I have it in there.
It's yeah.
Every once in a while, I feel like if someone breaks into my house and I wound them, I'm going to finish them off with that thing.
Well, yeah.
I want to go get it and just run it, put one of those things right through their neck.
Well, that'd be good. You could also spear them though, like through the midsection.
Yeah.
And then like get Thor, and then both can lift up like, oh, that'd be cool.
Be a good picture. All right, so you get done with buds, no factor, whatever. And you show up at Team 1. And did you get put into a platoon immediately?
Yeah.
And it's now, what, 1989, 1990?
Yep.
So is the Gulf War on the horizon yet or not
No.
really? So Kuwait has not been invaded yet, or it has been invaded, but we're not sure we're going to do it.
That happened August 6th.
And when did you get to the team?
Like December.
Okay.
So it took about 9 months.
So you showed up at the team. There's no war going on.
But we had to go through SBI.
Okay.
They didn't have SQT back then.
Yeah,
At SBI, SEAL Basic and Doc. And they just grabbed a bunch of guys, and it was actually really squared away at Team 1.
Yeah.
You did land warfare, you did demo, all your weapons and shit. Patrolling tactics, you did maritime, air, rubber ducks, limp ducks, all that shit.
Yeah.
You did photo intel, like all kinds of stuff.
Infield developing.
Yeah. I was just talking to this camera guy up in Wyoming. I told him I used to do that, and he goes, wow. But now it's all like digital camera.
Yeah.
You ain't got to do any of that.
No, you
it's
don't
like,
have to
yeah. Of course. Spend hours and hours doing that. And then a lot of shooting, basic shooting. Shot M14 till your friggin' fingers go.
Because you were not a man if you didn't carry an M14.
Well, yeah, because it was like the best gun ever.
My bicep would get bruised from shooting the M14.
Oh, yeah.
And I know people would say, well, because it'd be like move, like you can't just keep it there the whole time.
Nah, it's like gigantic. And that's why the M14, God bless its soul, such a great weapon. Remember how many malfunctions you had with it?
Yes.
Oh,
I do
yeah,
remember.
none. Yeah, ever in the history
No, actually,
of
I did.
ever.
I had one. Somebody else's shell from an M16 went lodged somehow into my ejector port.
Well, yeah,
in the middle of whatever.
Yeah, it could happen.
Yeah, so that's one.
Yeah,
but yeah, those things are freaking
but
accurate.
They didn't survive the. How do I put it? The rail system years. Once everything started becoming attachments and shit. They tried to do it, and then the gun was like 360 pounds.
Yeah.
So it never really, but back then the M16 was basically a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Even the NR727, the Car 15s, that whole evolution leading up to the M4, they got better and better and better. They're more reliable, and it just makes sense on the battlefield. If you got an M4, you got a 5.56. You're working with the Marines, the Army. You can always go anywhere and get some more ammo. It's like, who has strip clip friggin' 308 ammo?
Yeah.
7.62. Nobody. The D-Wink it up to 60. That got to be a wicked pain in the ass. And you're like, but it was a great gun. I mean, I still love the thing. You put that front sight on there, mister. And,
yeah.
But as far as optics and night vision, it didn't make the cut. Just...
Yeah.
My take about it, But.
Yeah. I still have one. That's still like my primary battle rifle at my
it's
house.
Great. Always going to work.
Yep. Yeah. 100% it's going to work.
I mean, if shit goes down, chaos in the streets, and you're like on a cul-de-sac, you could come out with that. I mean, I'd have a fucking Tommy gun is what I'd have. My fedora on. Just whacking everybody. But, you fantasize about stuff. I mean, it's just...
Hey, it's a Tuesday afternoon. What are you going to do?
I mean, yeah.
Tommy gun and fedora hat. Yeah. I mean, come on.
Hey, you want to go to the bar and get liquored up? Yeah, let me just grab my Tommy gun real quick. What? Yeah.
So SBI, you go through, you learn a bunch of stuff. I had STT is what they called it when I went through.
Yeah, and then
good dudes teaching us that stuff.
Oh, it was great because you still got kind of treated like shit, but you were weren't a new guy. You weren't a Bud student.
You were, you were getting treated like a little bit better than the Buds guy. Then you got assigned to a platoon?
Yes, sir. I got assigned to Alpha Platoon, SEAL Team 1.
And so in the old days, Alpha Platoon meant you were riding a boat.
Yes, sir.
Arg Alpha.
Arg Alpha. I didn't care.
Did you know anything? You were just like,
whatever. No, yeah, whatever. I'm in a platoon. Cool.
How many new guys were in your first platoon?
We had a few. We had like
because sometimes they used to stack the ARC platoons with more new guys.
We had
because they just wanted to fill that thing up because no one wanted to do an ARC float.
Wow, we had, new guy and new choice. No,
that's what I'm saying. So it'd be like, oh, okay, but just put all the new guys in there.
Yeah,
and let them float. But you had a badass LPO.
I did. I had an LPO leading petty officer who was one of my BUDS instructors.
What was he like as a BUDS instructor?
Quiet and like mean looking, like kind of like if you don't do this, you're just a big pussy, or you guys aren't putting out, and just like
because he was good at everything.
He was wicked.
He was good at everything.
Once he became my LPO, like he was good at shooting. He was good at all water stuff. He grew up like somewhere in California. And he could kayak. He was a really good skydiver.
Yeah. He was just good at everything.
Everything. Mountaineering.
So respected.
Yeah.
And freaking nice, man.
Yeah, he's a great guy. I'm going to actually see him here.
I know,
by the time
awesome.
This podcast airs, probably, I'm going to visit him somewhere in the country here. But he did, I think, 20 years after that as a state trooper.
Damn.
Yeah. I think it was Alaska, I'm pretty sure. But he's just, he thrived in that environment, and he was a good teacher. Like, he'd take us and he'd go, okay, guys, here's how you do this. You're like 80% correct.
Yeah.
But this is the 20% that you suck at, and then here's how to get better at it. Like, roger that. I mean, he was just a good dude, man.
The reason I know him is because when he got back from that deployment, he took over CQC or CQB at Team 1. He was the CQB instructor. So he put me in my first workup through CQB. And he was the first guy that I was looking at. Maybe not the first guy, but he might have been. He was the first guy I was looking at going, there's a lot of going on here. There's a lot this isn't just a mechanical thing of you're going through and you're clearing rooms. Like there's thought happening here. There's intentional decisions being made. Like I could see that the way he would explain things, I'd be thinking, oh, he knows like a lot more than a lot of us other guys do.
Yeah.
And he'd explain some little detail, and you'd say, oh, and it would make sense to me. I'd be thinking, wow, that makes a lot of sense.
And he'd say stuff like in room combat shit. He'd say like, well, why are you doing that? I'm like, well, we're done here. We're going to go there. Well, what about deconfliction? I'm like, well, what do you mean? Well, you're not the only group within your group assaulting this building or the ship. You're going to make sure that the other guys are like, all right.
Yeah.
The first one who actually.
That's exactly the kind of thing I'm talking about.
When the blinders come off in the teams, everything's like from land warfare, CQC, whatever you want to call it now, skydiving, diving. Once the blinders come off, and the good people in your life and the teams will make the blinders come off. Mm-hmm. And then that's when you start growing as a frogman. Because it's easy just to go, okay, blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
But you have to do the basic shit so well and never forget it, but then open your mind up to it's like shooting. Like front sight, front sight. Then you get exposed to both eyes open, and your front sight is blurry because your target's clear. Because guess what? When you're shooting paper, front sight, that's great. But when you're shooting people, you have to make sure you can shoot them. You have to look at their hands. You can't do that if the target's blurry.
Right.
So when you transition, that really opens your eyes. You do years and years of front sight, and then you start opening your eyes, and because you have to. And then it all goes away because you're on nods and you got a laser. And then you have to transition because you might be new and you may have to go assault this building.
I remember we were doing shipboard movement on remember the pier side ship that we used to use all the time. So we were on that ship. We were doing just movement.
Nasty.
It was just nasty.
Seagull shit all over the place.
But we were like moving. We'd come up the stern of the ship and then just move as a big group, a big train, like a big. And he just asked a question, you know, like, well, what if someone's, you know, shooting at you? And everyone was kind of stumped. Like the older guys in my platoon were kind of, you know, we'd shoot back or just some dumb answer, you know, like, oh yeah, we would shoot back. But meanwhile, we all die because we're all in the open on a metal ship.
Yeah.
And then he taught us, you know, how to do the little bump.
Yeah.
And then I realized, so this isn't a recipe. It's not like a recipe. Oh, this is what you do every time.
Yeah, you can't.
No, that was probably the guy that made me start thinking, oh, there's different ways to do this.
He is the guy who made me start thinking.
Yeah, there's different ways to do this. There's things that I need to actually think about. Right. I can't just follow the thing that you've been taught one time and that's how you do it. It's like, no, you actually need to think. And that was the first guy that I said that I started to realize there's a lot more going on than I was aware of.
Absolutely. There's a lot more.
Oh, a lot more.
Yeah. It's not just, I mean.
He would sit down at the range and shoot head plates at 50 yards, like on timer, you know, with his pistol.
Yeah.
Beep, ping.
Yeah.
Over while we were eating lunch, he's just down there.
When he had that 45,
yes,
that wicked nice,
yes,
yeah, that was
when no one had like really nice weapons like that.
It was a good one.
So, so that's an awesome LPO to have for your first time around.
Yeah.
Damn. Your old running mate told me a story. You guys were on a bus somewhere on like Liberty, and some guy was running his mouth. Some fleet guy was running his mouth and making a bunch of noise. He was all drunk and whatever, getting crazy, and all of a sudden, your LPO just like put him in a chokehold and put him to sleep.
Yeah, I was like, here you go, buddy. Just get a little nap in there. You'll be all set.
And what's crazy about that is no one knew what a chokehold, no one knew what a sleeper hold was, really.
He did.
Yeah, and he's like knew how to do it.
Yeah, yeah.
And knew how to put people to sleep.
Yep.
And then does it.
Yeah. He's the best, man.
Yeah.
Still is. He's a fucking great guy.
Yeah, freaking awesome. Anything else that so what was that first platoon like? Did you guys, isn't that platoon, the war kicked off while you were in that platoon then?
Yeah. So August 1st or August 2nd of 1990, Saddam invaded Kuwait and everything, blah, blah, blah. So they sent platoons from the Strand, even though they had forward deployed platoons, which them guys were pissed.
Oh, yeah, they were.
And so we were on the ARC platoon. We didn't leave till April. And that like officially didn't end, but everything was done by the time we get there. We didn't do anything really. The only like real thing I did on that platoon was like a
shipboarding.
No, the big 53 helicopters. One went down, pulled off the ship, killed everybody, and we dove on the bodies and pulled them up. But I was with that guy, and you know, he was like, "Yeah, here's how we'll do it." Totally cool. But that was it. I mean, we didn't get any gunfights or nothing, which is unfortunate. It's like, fuck. You know, so we were on the ship most of the time, and in the Middle East, we got off and we did training and stuff.
Summertime deployment if you left in April.
Yeah.
So it was 1,000 degrees.
Oh yeah, it was just terrible. And then, you know, you can't eat enough, and all you did was like lift weights and then wait to get back, and then. So
you get back from that deployment, you roll into it right into your next platoon.
Yeah, but I got a story about that first one.
Oh.
In the workup, we talk about like attitude adjustments and stuff. I kind of fucked up some infraction somewhere. I wasn't late. I didn't have something ready. I don't know what it was, but my chief at the time, he's like, "Oh yeah, okay, you fucked up." And I'm like, "Oh, Roger, chief. I didn't really know I fucked up. I'm okay." So it's like 1600, you know. I don't know if it was Friday. No, it was a weekday. And he goes out to the grinder with me. I'm like, well, what's he gonna do? Like punch me? Because that. In the teams, that's kind of like a, you know, still.
It's a thing.
You know, I wouldn't go crying to HR or whatever that is. We don't have that. It's just like, fucking figure it out, hit each other, and be done with it, and go back to work. So he's got this bag, this big construction garbage bag, you know. And it's filled with a tangled up flutterboard line.
Oh, Jesus.
So for those of you who don't know, a flutterboard line is this, without getting into the whole hydrographic reconnaissance thing, it's parachute cord, you know, line, and it's 500 yards worth. And it's tangled up like a motherfucker. He goes, I want this in the morning back on the flutterboard.
Jeez. Which is like a big fishing reel.
Yeah, it's gigantic
Basically.
board. It's about that big. It's bigger than like a gigantic pizza that you order.
Yeah.
That's the diameter.
Yeah.
Or whatever that is. I don't know. So I go, well, this is perfect, man. I'll just, you know, flake it out like a fishing line, then cut it and splice it. And as he's walking away, he goes, I'll know if you cut it and splice it. I'm like, fuck. So, you know, I did that for a few minutes and realized, man, this is going to take all fucking night. So I went to the country store and I got like a 6-pack of Budweiser. Actually got like a 12-pack. And I'm sitting there, and about 5 o'clock in the morning, I finished it.
Yeah.
And I shined the flutterboard, and I put it on the chief's desk. And I sat in the platoon space, you know, with a couple of beers, and I kind of like passed out, you know. And about 6 o'clock, 6:15, the chief comes in, and he's like, hey. I'm like, huh? He goes, is smarting you up? And I go, you bet. All set, chief. He's like, roger that.
Good to go.
Good to go. We got shit to do. Let's go. PT, roger. I was like, So, good lesson learned there.
Yeah. I untangled some 550 cord.
Like
when it
half
comes
your life.
off, when it comes off the spool.
Of course it does.
And then
that cardboard one, when
that
one end
cardboard
disintegrates,
spool,
and it goes,
whoever made that thing is committed a war crime.
Oh, I know.
That thing is
I
just
know.
awful.
It's just terrible.
Check. So you come back from that deployment after being at sea, and now you roll into your second platoon.
Yep.
Did you get any schools when you came back?
No.
They're just like, no.
They were already halfway through the workup, so it was just like, I did all the stuff, but I didn't have any time to do anything.
Oh, that's right, because the ARG platoons were off cycle.
They were off cycle. Yeah.
So you were going to get tossed into some, and you were lucky then. You got tossed into a platoon that was already in their workup.
Yeah. Good platoon. You know, wasn't much going on back then. I think 92, 93, something. When in 92, came back 93.
Did you deploy to the PI with that platoon? Or did you
no.
deploy to Guam?
Guam had just started.
So that's where you deployed to?
Yeah. It
I'm
was
trying
like
to think
nothing there.
I know. Well,
Matter of fact, it was right in the middle. They were just exiting. So we couldn't actually deploy there. So we went to Guam. But there was nothing in Guam. Like it was.
because my first
cool.
deployment was to Guam, and we were like the first guys to go to Guam 100%. Like, oh, you are going to Guam.
Yeah.
And the guys that had deployed to the PI before were just moping around the barracks.
Oh, I know. They were
So mad.
Like I said, I was stationed there, so I'm like, yeah, whatever.
And then how was the workup standard workup?
Yeah.
Bunch of freaking humping around the desert.
Yeah.
Like the forward leading edge of battle. We had some good guys in trading that understood more about war than I did. That's for damn sure.
Oh, yeah.
But it was, there was not much to reflect back on for a lot of guys. Like guys had to, if the guys, was the Vietnam guys, and now.
Well, my first platoon, my LPO they were talking about, he was in Grenada.
Yeah, that's right.
With Damnack, with Team 6. And then my second platoon, the chief was in Grenada too with Team 6. So I had some redundancy in that, like learning. But some of it was like, I don't know.
Isn't it crazy though? And that's like, because I had my platoon commander in my second platoon was also in Grenada.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And everyone was, that was sort of the and actually I had my LPO in my second platoon was in the first Gulf War and actually did gotten some firefights. And
LC?
And so those guys, it was like they knew the unknown to us, and that's crazy that there was that little combat experience in the teams back then. in the whole military.
Well, you know, the 80s.
Yeah, no, that's what
Vietnam
I'm saying.
Was.
And now you go into a SEAL platoon, literally every single guy, unless you are a brand new guy, every single guy has been on a combat deployment or 7.
You're right, or 15.
Or 15.
Yeah, or whatever it is.
They're just...
There's tons of them that are numb to it. They're like, hey, we're going to do this deployment now. That's like, we're going to go somewhere where there's nothing going on. They're like, yeah! Because we always used to have a saying, like, if you're in a deployment and you're totally at war, that's great. But if you're in a deployment where you're just drinking beer and working out and doing exercises, drink beer, work out, do exercises. Yeah. Do that for the boys who can't do that.
Yeah.
Because guess what? It's going to come full fucking circle. It always does, you know. But we're fortunate. We had a... I'm just fortunate, like, the time frame I was born.
Totally.
I mean, from... I know everything that happened in the 80s in the world, and I went in the service, and it was still old school, and then the Y2K, and then like actually let's you know, I learned about the Industrial Revolution in school. I mean, who really gives a fuck? The technology revolution, cell phones, computers. I mean, it's changed the world.
Yeah, not
just the teams, but everyday life.
Yeah.
And I mean,
that was weird too, because we got to see
and 9/11.
Do you remember? I mean, when we got to the teams, there was no email.
Of course not.
I mean, there was no email.
There's no computers.
There was no computers. There's no email. So
the copy machines, we had to roll the thing. Like
so
my
first deployment, my platoon commander and the assistant platoon commander each had a computer. Yeah. And like no one knew what they were doing on it.
Cool. They weren't even out a gear list.
They weren't even doing anything on it. Right. It was just complete. No, there was no use for them whatsoever. No. And then, you know, you fast forward. I remember Microsoft Word, or it wasn't even Microsoft. It was like some other word processing program, and people started doing what you're talking about. Print to gear list.
Oh, I had floppy disks,
execution
A drive,
checklist.
You know, and all that stuff. I thought I was. But here's the funny thing about that, right? Like when I went into training, like after my 7th platoon, they're like, oh yeah, you're going to be the LPO of this platoon over at Team 5. Mm-hmm. I'm fast forwarding a little bit, but they're like, no, you've done enough. You're going into training. I'm like, oh, fuck. So then it became TRADET, and I was like plank owner there.
Yeah.
So I had to put all the land warfare stuff on PowerPoint, you know, and like do it right, you know, professional, not just I never had 1 minute of formal computer training. Mm-hmm. The Navy never gave me any. I never asked. I didn't know how to turn on the PC. Like, I had no idea. I'm like, on the side.
Yeah.
And then I taught myself how to do it. Yeah. And PowerPoint. Okay, can you put PowerPoint on this? The guy comes over and does it, and then I'm like, I asked a few questions and figured it out. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
You got to figure it out.
Yeah.
And it's like fucking terrible. I had a lot of, you know, past midnight nights starting at 06, just going, you know, and I could get up, go to work, do the 2-mile swim, go run 6 miles, whatever the fucking PT was, throw my body armor, run through the house 800 times, then go drink 1,000 beers and go to bed at midnight, sleep 4 hours, and I'd be good to go. 8-hour day on the computer. I can barely make it home, and I'm like, it kills me. It's terrible. I don't know how one of these fuckers who sit in cubicles like blow their brains out after like 10 years, you know, with their business suit, and they're all like overweight and high blood pressure. Like, I totally can see it. That's no way for a human being to.
You have to get out of the cubicle, man.
Oh my God! I'm like headbutting the mirror.
That was being in the teams where you're at a minimum. You worked out in the morning, and at lunchtime you're gonna go like for a run on the beach, or you're gonna go do jiu-jitsu, or you're gonna go freaking do rope climbs or something at lunch, and that's just the way.
Yeah.
Like, think about the fact that when you're in the teams, you work out every day.
Every day.
Like, that's just awesome.
Right. And if you're not working out, you're doing everything we do in the teams is working out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, like, okay, well, I'm not going to PT. Oh, you're not going to fucking PT? I'm climbing the ships all day.
Yeah.
if that ain't working out, I don't know what the fuck is,
Yeah. If you're in one of those jobs where you are staring at a computer all day long or you're sitting inside all the time, you gotta get up and move.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So back to your second platoon, or forward to your second platoon.
Yeah.
Was there any major leadership lessons that you learned in your second platoon? And I didn't really ask you that question about your first platoon. Because I imagine your LPO must have left such not like a, hey, here's 4 points on how to lead, but you just watched that guy.
Well, that
just
was
emulate him.
The cat you're talking about, I don't know how he was like your OIC.
Yeah.
We know what we're talking about. He's like, just do what that guy does.
Dude,
and you're all set.
I spent my whole career trying to emulate that guy.
Yeah.
Everything about him. And I did a crappy job, but I did the best I could.
I did the best I could too, but my second platoon, I don't know. We didn't there was no major conflicts, not even close to. And we did some exercise. We had a good time. Thailand, Australia, got in a lot of bar fights and we didn't kind of went by.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of fun and I learned I don't know, I improved on my shooting skills.
In your second platoon?
In my second platoon. Not a ton, but a little bit. And I'll get more into that as we go along, but it was all right.
Doing a platoon, is that time period of platoons, which I did one deployment to Guam in that time period, but you could see what was happening. And what was happening was it was a pretty cookie cutter thing. You're going to do your workup, you're going to go to Guam, you're going to do some exercises, you're going to come home, and you're going to do that again. That's actually why I went and did a couple ARGs, because it seemed like they had a little better chance, it seemed, of doing something real. Yep. And that's why I did a couple ARGs with a couple other guys. But yeah, it seemed like it's kind of cookie cutter. Hey, you're going to do your workup, you're going to do, and you're learning stuff, you're getting better at it, but that's about it.
That is exactly about it. And now that I look back at it, some of the people who were in charge of me, whether they were OICs, LPOs, or chiefs, hindsight's 20/20, but they didn't really do me any favors. They didn't have a lot of forward thinking. And I hate to say it, but some of them were like, wow, let's just get through this deployment. And I'm like, get through it. This is my whole life. I don't care if I ever go home. This is what I do. This is our profession, and I would hold some animosity towards them, and it pissed me off, basically.
Did it seem to you it seemed to me, from what you just said, I think that there were some guys in the teams at that time period that worth not thinking at all that we were going to war ever again.
No.
It was just not.
They wanted
happen.
to do this so they could punch that ticket to make rank.
Yeah, but they were not thinking, hey, there's a war on the horizon. No. We need to be ready for combat. We need to improve our skills. There was definitely guys in the teams in the 90s that were just, there were some great guys too, obviously, but there was plenty of guys that were, hey, yep, we're going to go on this deployment. This is what I have to do. Hey, stay out of trouble.
Right. Yep.
Are we going to set up any extra training? No.
We'll just train. If we don't have to train, we won't. It was like, well, yeah. Because if you don't make us train, we're going to go train out in the bars.
Yeah.
We're going to get in big fist fights and break chairs over people's heads and get in trouble, which I don't know why you get in trouble. I still think oh, yeah, okay. Oh, bar fight, yeah, don't do it again. I never got anybody in trouble for that. That would be yeah, cool. No, don't be disrespectful to the cops. But, come on.
Lock guys up on an island for 6 months.
Yeah, and then go, go home and, what? No, we're not jobs. That's what taxpayers pay us for, to be wild and crazy. So when all that happens, we're right at home. That's what we do.
So that platoon, you do its cookie cutter, and then your next Your next platoon after that, were you the LPO of your
Nope.
next platoon after that? You
Nope.
did another platoon.
Well, the second platoon, I gave up the machine gun. I only did that one platoon. And then I became a point man.
Okay.
That's what I was wanting. That kind of takes the blinders off. Mm-hmm. And I became a point man. Was I the best point man? No. Was I the best at anything in the teams? No. Ever in the history of ever. Nothing. But I was decent point man. I'd say I was average. And I did that for the next 5 platoons. Unless I was in a leadership position.
Mm-hmm.
So I did, my third platoon was point man.
Wait, your second platoon was point man or second
Yep.
platoon? Okay, so you gave up machine gun after your first platoon,
Yep.
and now your second platoon point man, third platoon point man,
Yep.
which means you're getting really good at land nav.
Yeah, and we didn't have GPS.
No GPSs, and your pace count is on.
Yeah,
and
7,000 yards in my head. Not a counter, nothing, just, Roger. Mm-hmm. You know. And I got real good. I was pretty good at land nav anyway, but
When did you go to sniper school?
my third platoon.
So in your third platoon workup, you go to sniper school. Which sniper school? Was it an NSW sniper
Yep.
school at the time?
Yep.
It must have been in one of the early ones.
Yeah, it was. Not the earliest one, so it was squared away. It was awesome, man. We did like a couple days of classes, and then we went up to Coalinga, California, and that's when my long gun shooting just became insane.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So all right, sniper school, where's my cool sniper weapons? No. Iron sight M14 for like 2 weeks straight at 1,000 inches. So after a while, this is your group.
Size of a quarter.
20 rounds. This is your group. And then you start shooting for distance, calling wind, still with iron sights. Finally, they break you into the scope. And they start teaching you how to, mills, how to range targets. They didn't even have laser rangefinders. Mm-hmm. And so when you finally get all that stuff, I mean, you're such a good shooter. I got out of sniper school and my platoon, we did a pistol shoot. Me and my shooting buddy, Z there, not Z, but that's his initial, mm-hmm. ZJ. We smoked everybody just because we could shoot. Mm-hmm. And they just got back from like Rogers. We're like, but. And that really, really, like, I became a really good long gun shooter. Mm-hmm. Like, awesome.
Yeah, I've been shooting archery, and man, the laser rangefinder, they're freaking crazy.
Oh my God, they're the best.
They compensate for everything. Angle. They're crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I bought one. I was like, "Oh, I'm just gonna buy one." And the guy I'm like, "Which one's the best one?" This one. And I was like, "Okay, cool." It's compensating for angle and.
Just real quick, I was 2.5 weeks ago. I was an RO, range officer, they call it, but it's a range safety officer at the Wyoming Rifle Tactical Championship up in Wyoming. Some of these rangefinders these guys got are like incredible. And a shout out to them guys. They're some of the best shooters I've ever seen in my life, like in the world. Good to go.
What was the competition?
It's called the Wyoming WRTC, Wyoming Rifle Tactical Championship, or WTRC. I can't remember. Excuse me if I fuck it up. That's just who I am. But it's also a fundraiser for special operations, wounded warriors. Some of the best people on the planet, man. Awesome. But some of the gear, I was like, holy fuck. If I'd have had this back in the day, that has saved me 700 hours of horse shit in my life, but times. But I became a really good shot.
This rangefinder I have has a stabilizer on it too.
Of course it does.
So you're not shaking.
Yeah, the only thing it doesn't do is
pull the trigger
give you a blowjob and shoot the gun for you. I mean, it's like crazy.
Yeah. So that's when you went to sniper school, and you did that sniper school was the NSW with the stalking and all that.
Oh yeah, it was hot. It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy at all.
How many people graduated that school?
I can't remember. I wasn't the top cat, but I think we had 10, maybe 15.
Man, NSW came out of the gate hardcore on that school.
Yeah, they did.
Like that NSW sniper school.
It's legit.
Freaking legit.
Yeah, it's not easy.
Yeah.
But I loved it. I mean, I thought it was awesome.
So then you go on deployment with that. Where'd you go? Was it another Guam deployment?
Yeah, it was another insignificant. Not that it wasn't great and everything, but it was no.
Yeah. I mean, that's what people have to understand. In the 90s, it was like you're going on deployment.
Yeah.
We're on standby for whatever, praying every day that a major theater war would break out.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, just hoping. But
one thing we did do is I'm sorry, I got to backtrack one platoon. We were in Australia working with the SAS and shooting the shit, and we were doing some training and we were doing some shooting, and our guys were doing really well, like shooting wise. And of course, with those cats who are awesome, they're like the best guys ever, just like a bunch of special forces around the world, they're the best guys ever. Like, oh yeah, you guys, man, you're shooting the shit out of it, mate. And he goes, wow, it's easy for you. And I'm like, the fuck you talking about? Well, you guys grow up playing freaking cowboys and army. And I'm like, I never really thought of it. He goes, back then they're like, we don't have guns here. They don't have guns unless you got a special permit to hunt or you join the military or the cops. We don't grow up doing that.
Damn.
I'm like, I never thought of it. Christ, BB gun wars when you're kids.
Oh,
and
God.
Just throwing rocks. Let's have a rock fight. What? So anyway.
Yeah, you don't think too much about the fact that many of the people that come into the teams or into the military, they grew up with a rifle or at least shooting.
At least comfortable around guns.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see any reason to be afraid of a gun.
No, unless you're an idiot.
Yeah.
Then you should be afraid of it.
Yeah.
Because you shoot yourself.
Right. But and then in my third platoon, we, like I said, we didn't, went overseas, did some stuff,
Yeah.
Just,
and
but people don't realize in them years when there was no wars going on, we did some ridiculous training stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we're going to do this 3-mile swim and then put your gear on and hump, walk here to Saskatchewan and then you get a 5-minute break and then you got to shoot 17 rounds in 2 seconds and really? I mean, how skinny do you want me to be? I do 5-mile swim, 10-mile run, and then 2-mile swim. Dude, it takes all day.
Yeah. Doing the monster mashes on Friday.
I mean, they were fun.
Yeah, they were fun.
But
yeah, and that's the other thing is I have occasionally people ask me, they say something along the lines of, I was in the Marine Corps, I was in the Army, I was in the Navy during the 90s and didn't do anything, and I feel like I didn't do a good job serving my country. And I always say, look, man,
you served your country.
You did what your country needed you to do. Yeah. And when it was 1994 or 1996 and you were in the SEAL teams and the Navy needed you to deploy to wherever and go do an exercise with some country, that's what you did.
Yeah.
And we trained and we did establish and maintain standard operating procedures. So all these little things that we do, they came.
They count.
They somebody had to carry the thread of being able to do this stuff,
right?
For during these time periods, and that's what we were doing. Making sure that this thread, making sure that the knowledge, at least at a minimum level, stayed in place.
Yeah, and a lot of it is not even the tactics and stuff. It's I don't know. In the SEAL teams, I think the word the phrase old school has to always be there. It has to.
Yeah.
Just BTF through everything. That's not an old school thing. Just that attitude. You gotta, at least every day in a SEAL platoon, SEAL troop, assault team, whatever you're talking about, someone's got to be don't be a fucking pussy. Just do it and shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Because if it ain't like that in the most exclusive man's club ever, then what do you got? You got nothing.
Yeah, you definitely have to maintain that attitude of, hey, we're gonna get this done.
Oh yeah,
That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get this done.
And it's like, cool, man. This is gonna really suck.
Yeah.
Yes.
Things that are gonna suck real bad.
Because if you don't do even if you're operating, you're in a platoon or whatever you're doing, if you're not doing a gut check, like a serious gut check every 2 months or so, something's wrong. Mm-hmm. It shouldn't be easy.
No.
It shouldn't. It should be like, fuck, this is gonna suck. But then when you're doing it, it sucks so bad it's fun. Yeah. Because you're with your chums. You're like, yeah, whatever. Everything's good.
No one ever says anything about it. You're just like,
Yeah, you just
because you think about some of these things that you do. You jump into the ocean with a Zodiac, and then you get in the Zodiac and you rig it, and it's freezing, and you're in a wetsuit that's cold, and now you drive from over the horizon, so it's 15 or 20 miles of driving in a Zodiac.
Against the swells.
You're getting beat up. Your ass is chafed.
Oh, yeah.
The guy next to you is puking. And what you're doing is you're getting to a harbor somewhere so you can then put on your...
real work.
Take your dive rig out of a kit bag.
Yeah.
Do a cursory check on your dive rig to see if it got damaged on the jump. And then you put that thing on. You're freaking... It's all awkward and huge. And then you roll into the water. And then you're underwater for 3.5 hours next to some idiot who doesn't know where he is. And you're freezing. When you get in the water, you're freezing. You're actually happy when you get in the water.
Because then you know you're going to warm up in like 2 minutes.
Because you're going to be kicking. Yeah. And then you get done with that. You come back out. You turn on a strobe or an IR strobe. Sometimes a white strobe. Because no one's out there. There's no enemy going to see you because you're in the middle of the ocean.
Right. Yeah.
And then you get picked up. You climb back in. You're totally exhausted. You have one of those collapsible canteen, like the 2-quart canteen is in the bottom of your kit bag. You pull that thing out. You drink some of that.
Yeah. I pull it out. It got punctured.
Yeah, I got punctured.
Nothing. So I just go, I got nothing.
And then you got to drive another 15 miles back over the horizon.
Yeah.
And you have about 7 miles left. The sun starts coming up.
Yeah.
And then you get there, and then you get loaded into some LCU that was meeting you out there. So that's the kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that just sucks, man.
Yeah, you get used to it though. You know.
All right, so that's your third platoon, your fourth platoon. What about your fifth platoon?
My fourth platoon. I was LPO.
There you go. You were a second-class LPO.
I was a second-class
So think about that.
officer.
For those of you that don't know what that means, you're a second-class petty officer.
E5.
LPOs are usually supposed to be first classes. And now everyone in a platoon is like a first class.
Right.
Back in those days, man, there was E3s, E4s, E5s, and then you'd have an LPO. But you were the LPO as an E5.
Yep.
How was that?
I loved it. You know, my chief was a senior chief, and God rest his soul, Mikey Hinkle, died a few years back. But he was one of the, you talk about nice guys.
Yeah, super nice guy.
He was like so much fun. He had that Texas drawl like, so what do you think we ought to do with this shit, Tony? You know, and he's just funny, you know. But we had a great platoon. We again, we didn't really do anything. Mm-hmm. Made no wars.
How'd you like being like actually in charge?
Oh, I loved it. I loved it. I had a pretty good OIC and AOIC, and we worked together. I'm like, hey, this is how I think we should do it, but let me know. And there was a couple E6s in the platoon too. But they were newer guys, so they didn't.
Oh, so you were the E5 LPO ranking, bossing around or whatever, in charge of guys that were senior to you on paper because they'd come from the fleet or something like that. Yep. And no big deal, though.
No big deal. Team guys. Yeah. We figured it out. But once again, we did a lot of drinking and fighting, and
Didn't you knock out one of your guys or something?
Yeah. That's just stuff that happens in a platoon. I mean, I got yelled at by the XO, and I'm like, yeah, whatever. Like, I don't, He was like, don't do that. And I'm like, yeah, okay. But we weren't out in town. The cops didn't get involved or anything. We just kind of like, whatever, swept it on the table. And I was like in the office, like, I'll do it again right now. And he's like, no, I don't care. But, it was all right. Then I left Team 1 after that. Not because I had to, but I transferred to SEAL Team 5 after that.
And at that time, SEAL Team 5 seemed like it seemed like it had a little less stringent.
Oh my God! It was the Wild West. It was 300 feet down the street, and it was like going to the Wild West.
Yeah.
And I'll say this about Team 5, man. At that time, in the 90s, they were full of characters. I mean, fucking characters.
Yeah.
I show up for quarters the first morning. I'm in my starch camis with my haircut. You could shave in my jungle boots, It's Team 1.
Because that's the way Team 1 was.
Yep. The quarters is like 7:20. I'm standing there. I'm the only guy on the grinder, and it's like 7:16. And then the back gate opens. It's like coming out of the Drew Carey show back in the 80s. Like, guys are on skateboards. Nobody's wearing a uniform. They don't give a fuck. And they're like, hey, what's going on? Yeah, blah, blah, blah. What are we doing for PT today? I don't know. Who cares? Just go run and, I don't know, hit the gym. Like, what the fuck is going on here? Everything was loose. Everybody was wicked cool. So I'm like, but then when I started working with everybody, the square awayness was there. Mm-hmm. In the training department and the platoons. They just proved that you don't need to be like so uniform and standards that and still be good operators. Mm-hmm. I mean, those guys were the best. I loved being at SEAL Team 5. I loved being at all my teams, but that was fun.
Yeah, there was a bunch of guys that migrated from Team 1 down to Team 5.
Oh, absolutely. So I got in a platoon there, and it was another ARG. So this was my 5th platoon, and I did an ARG. But we had a great platoon.
And did they make you the LPO?
Oh, no. No, I did 3 more platoons not being the LPO after that.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's kind of an interesting deal.
Oh, yeah,
you kind of knew how to run shit.
But I was still in E5.
Yeah.
So we did the ARG, and we went overseas. Again, we did like some watch in Kuwait. Mm-hmm. They still had that thing where guys are doing ISR or whatever. But nothing major. We didn't do anything. But it sucked. Like, I was on another ARG. And I was like, man, this is fucked up. I'm getting, I just re-enlisted. I went over like 10 years, so I'm like, okay, I'm committed for 20 now, you can only work out so much, and you can only drink so much, it's getting stagnant. But when I came back, they had this, the CAP, the Command Advancement Program.
Oh, yeah.
So there's 52 E5s at SEAL Team 5. And what they'll do is they'll just, instead of taking a test, they'll just make you an E6. And you get paid right away. It's kind of a big thing. So out of 52 E5s, I was ranked number 1. So I got the cap. Mm-hmm. So when TD was the CO, I walked in there and we were talking, and it was between me and Diamond. God bless my brother Diamond. He died last year. Mm-hmm. And I go, fuck you. You give it to Diamond. He's got a wife and kid. I'll get it next year, or I won't ever get it. So Diamond got it, and I was like, yeah. And he bought the beer, so what's the difference? So it was all good to go. But I was like, I don't care about rank. I never did. So I did that, and, I thought it was cool.
That is. That's awesome. What, did you get capped the next year?
Yes, sir, I did.
They used to tell me that I got capped my whole career because because I got capped because I got capped to E5 and then I got capped to ensign.
Yeah, perfect. Right, because you went into that program.
Yeah.
But that ARG platoon we had a great platoon. Like 1, 2, 3, 4 of those guys are not with us anymore, and not one of them is from a combat thing. You know, natural causes or self-inflicted. You know, but it was a great platoon. We had a lot of fun. We had a lot of terrible times, but you know.
You have terrible times, but they're fun when you're with a bunch of people
man.
that just are having fun.
So
with it.
that platoon, my LPO, I don't know if he's still in BH. I don't know. He was awesome. He was great. I had 2 chiefs in that platoon. One like gave up or got fired or something. And all this time, I had chiefs that gave me some good advice. Like my 3rd platoon, JH was the chief. He was in buds with me. He was a higher rank. So he had kind of a tough go at it when he got to the teams. But he turned out to be one of my best platoon chiefs. He was smart, articulate. You know him. He was cool too, you know. He didn't offer me a lot of advice tactically because we kind of grew up at the same time. So it was, you know, we were both same level, but he was good with the Navy. Like he told me this and that. Taught me shit that I forgot, but it was good to know, you know. But a lot of the examples I used as a platoon chief that I drew on were mostly bad. I'd have to say, you know, 51% of them were what not to do.
And you were looking at him at the time saying, no, that's not a good move. Or were you looking at it, or did you figure out later that chief wasn't doing a good thing?
I remember doing one thing. We're doing this crazy shipboarding thing. And I'm like, yeah, let's do it again. Fucking, you know, we're not there yet. We're not good at it. And my chief was like, well, yeah, the confident guys are going to say that. And I'm like, what the fuck? What? Now all of a sudden there's 2 groups, like the confident and the non-confident. We're fucking frogmen. What do you mean non-confident? What is that? Like, yeah, I'm that way when I look at a fucking computer or something, but like in the teams, who's not confident?
Yeah, that is a strange.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, okay, I'm never going to say that ever in the history of ever. Like ever, you know?
So then at what point did you go into training?
Oh, I still got a couple platoons to go here.
Damn, bro.
Yeah.
So your 5th platoon was the ARG platoon.
Yeah.
You stepped down from where you were not the LPO.
Right.
So now you do your 6th platoon.
Yep.
And what are you doing in the 6th platoon? Point man again.
Point man, air rep.
Point man, air rep.
Yep.
And that was a spec ops deployment to Guam.
Yep.
Hammering it out. Get your workout done. Get your workup done.
Yep.
Land warfare. CQC.
Yep.
Long humps in the desert.
Yep.
ORE.
Oh, yeah. Big time. By then, I knew Nylon so well. Like, I was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I'm the point man. I'm like, yeah, this is ridiculous.
You're doing it with your eyes closed.
I'm like, hey, you know what, Chief? Why don't you just let me carry the machine gun? He's like, why? Because let the machine gunner be the point man. Let's mix it up. He's like, oh, dude, cool. You know, the guy's like, well, that was another uneventful year and a half, 2 years. Kinda.
When did you make? So then, what about your 7th platoon?
Well, I made E6 in my 6th platoon.
Damn.
So I was in E6 in my 7th platoon, but I wasn't the LPO again. I was the ordnance rep. I went back to ordnance rep, point man. You just keep rolling. You know? You just keep rolling.
Yeah, you did keep rolling.
Yep. And after that one, that was an ARG Bravo, though. We actually.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, we spent like 30 days on the ship. Like Korea or something. It was terrible. I remember that because I watched the Subway series on the ship back then when the Mets were playing the Yankees.
Oh, okay.
Like, I think we ended in 2000. Maybe 99, 2000, something.
So you're a first class at this point.
Yep.
And then you get sent to trade at?
I get sent to training cell at Team 5. And after like a couple of months.
So you did your platoon LPO, and then you did 4 more deployments?
Yeah. Before I was a chief.
And then you got signed a training cell.
Yep.
And then they take training cell and they group it all together into Tradette.
Right.
One.
So I did like a year in training cell at 5.
Okay.
And then when I got orders to Tradette, it was for 3 years. I'm like, wait a minute, I already did a year in training. They're like, we don't give a shit. I'm like, fuck. So we stood up Tradette, and I was the LPO of land warfare the whole time I was there.
Mm-hmm.
And during that, I did get another school, though. I went to New Zealand to the tracking course.
Oh, damn.
So I learned how to track humans over there. It was an awesome, like, not easy course. Met a lot of really good cats from around the world and had a lot of fun.
How long had you been at Tradette when September 11th happened?
I'm not sure, maybe 6 months.
6 months. And then what did you just freak out completely?
No, I went to New Zealand. Everybody else went to Afghanistan. I went to New Zealand. Because I had to go.
How long was that course?
7 weeks.
So you get done with that, and now you're freaking out.
Well, of course I am. So I come back from that, and, all right, when am I going? Well, okay, you're going to go. You're going to go. And then, like, I didn't. I just kept working at an island, working. And then when Iraq kicked off, one of my old mass chiefs, like, I need a guy, so he took me and sent me overseas, and that's when you were there.
Yeah.
In Iraq.
This is when, you relieved us.
Right.
So we did like a little turnover or whatever.
Well, I was working with the Poles.
Yeah.
So.
But we were working with the Poles. So.
Right.
Yeah. So you came in to kind of take over the liaison or whatever
That's
position
exactly
with those
what it
guys.
was.
And then, which was a good job.
Oh, it was great.
You must have been stoked.
So I was in Baghdad. I was in Al-Assad. I was in Mosul. I was back and forth to Bahrain. I was like the in-theater guy if you wanted something done. I mean, I was walking through these foreign airports with duffel bags full of machine guns and just going to like the Brits or whatever country had a plane. Hey, they're like, we can't do that. I'm like, yeah, here's a bottle of scotch. I mean, that's how you got shit done. And then all of a sudden I'd show up in like Basra and like, okay, I got to do this for a while. And then I'd be like, all right, yeah, I'm going to go to Mosul, get a flight there, from bribing people with stuff and no orders. And, you think it's like, well, you get your orders and you wait for your plane. No, it wasn't like that. You just got to fend for yourself. And I loved it. It was awesome.
And then you did that full.
And I made chief on that deployment.
That's when you made chief.
Yeah. I squeaked under the thing. I had like 19 years in.
Oh, damn.
Or 18 and a half, whatever it was.
And then when did you find out you were going to go to Team 3?
Right after I made chief. Yep. Because the guy we were talking about called me in his office. He goes, I got you a platoon at Team 3. I'm like, roger that. Perfect.
Were you ever worried you weren't going to make chief and you'd get...
No.
You figured it would work out?
Yeah, it would always work out. I would make it work out. I'd strangle someone before I didn't. It would just work out. Bodies would disappear, whatever. I don't care. I'd take this and I'd be like, all right, here's what's going to happen. Your signature's going to be on there or your blood. It's one or the other. It's going to fucking happen, and that's it. I've not been doing this my whole life. Just to like, okay, I'll retire and go sit over in the corner like a queen. No, I'm not going to do it. And then,
so then you showed up at Team 3. I show up at Team 3, and there's Task Unit Bruiser. We talked about that on the last
we talked about it in the last
yeah.
one, but we got to reiterate that was so funny. Like, who's this Willink guy? And I'm like, who? Oh, Jocko? They're like, no, it says John Willink. I'm like, nah, I don't really know him. I kind of know him, and I'm walking away. They're like, whoa. They're like, don't worry, we're good to go. We're all set. We're all set, chum. They're like, no, but, the officer's like, well, what's he like? I'm like, he's good to go. That's all you need to know. Just stand the fuck by. Yeah. Don't have any fucking, me, I don't care. I didn't know you my whole life. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I go, don't have any like loose ends. And they're just like, you know, how officers are.
Like, Jesus.
They're like, I'm like, what do you mean? I mean, no fucking loose ends, because he's like a shark in the water. Like, he smell blood, he'll go, oh, really? You can't show up with a proper uniform? And they're just like, really? What is he, like a uniform Nazi or whatever, you know? And I'm like, no, he's just like, do it right. I go, here's an idea. If you do say, hey, what do you think about this, Jocko? And he'd look at you and go, well, I thought about like doing it like good. Not like what you're saying. That's just junk. And they're like, oh, fuck. Of course, you know, then you meet everybody. And,
Yeah, that was good.
That was funny.
Yeah, that was a good time. You could tell almost immediately like that we were going to have a good time.
Oh, I know.
Everyone was kind of there. Everyone was kind of in the game. And yeah, you could tell pretty quick we were going to have a good time. And the very first thing we did was land warfare, which is as it should be. Yep. There's a little bit of luck involved with training you get to do first. But, you know, we got lucky, you might say. Fun. Or someone moved the freaking things on the boards over at TradeEt to make us have land warfare first. But we had land warfare first.
You know, there's a lot of guys, teen guys, listening to your podcast, the way we shoot the shit here. And I got to think that they're like, yeah, we did this first. I don't remember if we did that first. Like, I remember everything. Like, everything. But not everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if you say, like, my chum that lives down there in Florida wrote a book. He's got a memory. Because I'm like, how the fuck did you remember that? Mm-hmm. He's like, I used to write stuff down. Now, I had a wheel book just like you did, mm-hmm. and I would write stuff down, and I go back. I still have them. They make no sense.
Mine make no sense.
It says, I got got grid then I got a big line through it, and it says, other fucking grid, and then roll over next day, get guns. Like, what?
Yeah.
Why would you have to write that down?
Mine are like that, too. I have, from when we were in Ramadi, I have 3, like... I forget what size they are, but maybe 8 by 6 or something.
Yeah,
they fit in your cargo pocket, right? And I carried it all the time. And so I've got all these little boxes with words next to them. And I can kind of remember what one thing that's cool is when I would sit through a mission brief, I would write my notes down that I was going to say to everyone. So I have like mission, 134.
Right.
And it says, tell them to watch, it says, watch that road. This building is a threat.
Yep.
And don't forget to check in with this ECP.
Right.
Just like random stuff that was super important at the time.
And super emphasize the rules of engagement.
Yeah, of course.
You always did that. I thought that was great.
Yeah. But so I have these kind of like random notes. And what sucks is Leif had the whole hard drive of every op that we did, and it was classified secret, obviously. And it was classified secret for no good reason. But, when we had to turn it in and they took it and it's destroyed or whatever, but that had every op sum, every op, every planning. I mean, everything was on that. And yeah, that's good. The notebooks I have are like your notebooks. It's like some random grid coordinate, some random execution checklist, 4 lines, and I'm like, rearrange this.
It's like so many they can't remember.
Yeah.
Like all the shit, I'd look at the notebooks, and usually none of them were like full. Some were like 3/4. Mm-hmm. Then I lost it in a para bag forever. Mm-hmm. So I just get another one, and I'd be like, I'd write this down like, and I'm thinking, why am I writing this down? Like, at what point, like in the middle of the night, when I'm on nods and I'm in a gunfight, I'm going to pull this notebook out and go, oh, yeah, no, I'm just going to BTF to some place where there's nobody shooting at me, and then I'll, like, figure it out.
Yeah.
That's
why I wrote down, the notes that I wrote down were all notes that I wrote down so that I was going to tell you guys.
Yeah,
like every note I have is a note to you guys. I mean, I guess maybe there's a third of them that are notes to me that say like, hey, tell the CO blah blah blah, or tell the brigade commander that the guys are going to be over here. Like, so there's some notes like that, but I don't have any notes that say, I felt good about this operation, and you know what I mean? Like, I don't have any.
Of course not. I never had any of that shit.
Yeah, I don't have any of that.
I don't like when I actually did sleep, I would like, all right, my gun's good. Okay. I'd lay down and I would sleep like a baby for those hours, whatever. Yeah. I slept so good in a war zone. Number one, you're like wicked tired.
Yeah,
Number two, it's simple. Yeah. It's not like life. You get up every day, like, hey, here's what we're going to do. It's fine. Then go to bed. And get up. Yeah, easy. Mm-hmm. Not like regular life shit. Terrible.
Yeah, there's definitely the op tempo of there's just you constantly have the next thing that you're like you never finish on a deployment. You like you don't finish the day. The day just rolls into the next day, into the next day, into the next day. So you're just on this amped up cycle of what are we gonna do next? What's going on?
Yep.
And this doesn't stop. So when you have a chance to lay down, you're like,
oh yeah, you're done.
There's a picture of me and Dave Burke that
good deal, Dave.
Yeah, nice reaction time. But it's me and him. I'm pretty sure it's Cop Falcon, and he's the commander of Salt 6, and I'm the commander of Task Unit Bruiser, and we're up on this rooftop, and we're both asleep. It's probably about 10 o'clock in the morning, and it's funny, but I was thinking like, by the time I would get into the field, I'd be so tired.
Done. Yeah.
and that'd be the first time where like, okay, cool. Everyone's on security and I'm going to go to sleep right now. And that's Dave Burke and me sitting on a rooftop, racked out.
Just done.
And just need 3 hours of sleep.
I remember that one deployment, I was up on this building and I had a 300 mag and I was looking through this thing, and for some reason that little section was just me. We didn't have enough people for the whole building, whatever. So that's fine. I could crawl and meet up with the other guys, then go downstairs. No big deal. It was like August. And I'm like, fuck, I don't have any water. I don't have any shade, nothing, but I have to stay on the gun. So now I realized this about 9 in the morning. So the sun goes down at like 9 at night. And I go, okay, yeah, I'm breaking my shit down. Kind of.
So this is after you've been sitting there for 14 hours.
Yeah.
And
so
you have...
I crawl back.
You have zero fucking water in your system at this point.
Like nothing. It's like 120 degrees. So I'm like, I break out my Silver Ranger. And I look, because I know what's going on. My lips are as white as this piece of paper, like just like the chunks. Mm-hmm. So I'm like going, I'm peeling it off. I'm like, I'll be fine, but I literally got like 3 hours to like die. And I'm like, So I don't say a fucking thing because I don't want to be a pussy, But I know I got some Cokes or something, and when it come to you, when I finally like get that, like, because my throat's like this big, there's like nothing, there's no airway. So I put my rock on, we're exfilling out of the building at night, and it's like, I'm like looking down, holding my field of fire, and I'm the chief, so I should be smarter than that, but I'm like, my vision starts to narrow because I'm like, I can snap out of it. And I'm like, then I'm good to go. I get back, and after like an hour back at the camp, I'm like, oh shit, I got to drink some water. And I drank like 4 quarts of water. Like, And then like 6 hours later, I was pissing like blue, still. I don't think you can really come back from a dehydration like that, but it's all those years of like drinking, and that just conditions you. So when it's, nylon, so when you get into that spot, it's not so bad. Yeah. Like, I'm not going to die. I'm wicked close. No, seriously, like, you start, feeling your dizziness, and then you just go, and it goes away for a while, then it comes back because you can't outrun your body. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, the dehydration will get you.
Yeah.
It's crazy how you'd see guys at the desert training, they'd go tits up. Pretty much if we were doing, when I was at Trade at, if it was summer and we were doing like a 6 to 8 click insert, by the time extract was going down, there was a decent chance someone was going down, like for real.
Yeah. And you're talking about completely sober,
usually
hydrated.
Usually it was on the
dudes.
insert. Why is it that it was usually on the insert?
Because you're just coming out of the damn air conditioning.
Because that's, now that I think about it, it was almost always on the insert.
Well, one of the things I instituted, and if I'm wrong about this, somebody correct me, but I think I was the first guy to do it, was when we were doing immediate action drills, I would walk the guys out, and I did fucking thousands of those. Mm-hmm. And I would pre-plan a guy, and you kind of could tell, like, we're not going to shoot back towards the canal kind of shit. But a guy who's on the right flank, if it was perpendicular or parallel, whatever it was, with a point man, they would just fall down with nothing, just fall down and like lay there. Guys would be like, contact right, you know, or they start shooting and they drag the wounded guy, and I'm like, okay, and then they come back. Casualty. And usually they did a good job, you know. I'm like, so what happened? And, well, you know, we took contact. This guy went down, blah, blah, blah. No, you didn't. The guy just fell down. Well, what do you mean? I'm like, well, maybe it was a heat casualty. Mm-hmm. And not to be a dink. Kind of to be a dink.
Yeah, a little bit. That's how you teach the lesson,
but
though.
It's like, you know, so how do you differentiate? Maybe he gets taken out by someone you don't hear the shot. Well, what are you shooting at? You know, there's no real good answer. You try to take the blinders off.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's one of those things. What you're actually teaching is, like, you actually have to think about what's happening.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, even an immediate action drill. Like, okay, there's an immediate action drill, but you better think about what's actually going on, because the answers aren't what's the word? The answers aren't just a rote memory.
No, there's no answer. Yeah. It's all a bunch of garbage you got to decipher and figure out. And, you know. The only thing that comes close to it in the civilian world is hunting. We got elk hunt this past year. I killed this gigantic bull elk. Me and 2 team guys there was 5 team guys there in Wyoming, and when I killed my big bull, it was like the other 2 guys couldn't carry a gun because they already limited out. They tagged out. Mm-hmm. So we ran it just like an op, and we have, you know, a little PLO, take off, hand arm signal comes up. Mm-hmm. Guys my chum Chris is like, okay, this big bull elk's going from here to here. And it was so intense. And I tell this to my chums, like, I mean, I actually shot some guy in the war, whatever, you know, like yawning, like, hunting elk, I'm like this. They're so like big and majestic and beautiful, and like they will kill you in a minute, and they don't care about you. They're just like, it's like life on steroids. It's so unbelievable. I highly recommend that if you like hunting, you hunt elk, because they're screaming, you know, and they're in the rut and they're battling each other. You can hear the tines, and then the big bull comes out. It's fucking incredible, man.
I'm going in September.
It's unbelievable.
With a bow.
I'm not a bow hunter.
Yeah.
But I don't know where you're going. You going to Idaho?
Going to Utah.
Yeah.
To a place that
guy went to high school, bow hunts in Utah. He's from there. So we'll talk.
The hunt that I'm going on, I'm going with it's like the best possible hunt. Like Andy Stumpf, he said that this hunt, he's like, he's like, this hunt is going to spoil you because it's the best possible hunt.
I love that guy.
And even
he's
the
great.
guy that's taking me, John Dudley, who's, you know, a world famous bow hunter and archer, and he's like, yeah, it's good. this is as good as it gets. Like the spot where I'm going is as good as it gets. So should be freaking awesome.
It's so badass.
Yeah.
You know, and I went home back to New Hampshire because that was an October season. Back to New Hampshire, hunted. I hunt with these guys up at a camp. They're just like the best. Everybody's like a character. Killed a lot of deer this year, you know, but it's not like that. Mm-hmm. It's.
You know, one thing. Well, so this guy John Dudley was asking me. He's like, it seems like this would be good for guys to get into.
Oh my God, it's the best.
I'm like, yeah. And for me, so we just did this 3D archery challenge up in Montana. And when we're up there, look, it's an admin thing, basically. Like you're walking through the woods and then they go, okay, there's the target. And then you shoot the target. They're anywhere between 30 and maybe 120 yards with a bow, which is far shots. But for me, I was telling him, I'm like, you know, when I was younger in the teams, we would patrol around the woods.
Yeah.
And that's what you're doing. You're patrolling around the woods. You're trying to be quiet. And like, that's a skill that.
And the wind.
Yeah, the wind. But like even in the desert, it's different than like when we would go to Fort Lewis, Washington, or we'd go to Fort Chaffee, Arkansas, or like we'd go down to Panama. Did you ever go do one of the training trips to Panama?
No.
So like patrolling through the woods, patrolling through the
Panama,
jungle.
not Panama City, Panama.
No, Panama.
Oh yeah, in the jungle. Oh yeah, it was crazy.
You get that skill of walking quietly through the woods and looking at someone else and doing all hand signals and not. And I was saying this to John. I'm like, and you're not talking.
No.
Which I know I have a podcast, which is what I do is like talk a bunch, but I actually don't love to talk to all people all the time.
No, really.
So
but some like J.O., a junior officer would walk up like, hey, what's up? Yeah, hey. Well, hey, Jocko, what do you think about this? And you just like turn and walk away. Like, and the guy'd be like looking at me like, what are you looking at me for? Huh? I don't know. He just doesn't want to talk to you. So what? Don't get all butthurt over it. He's got like stuff on his mind like, I'm hungry.
Yeah, so that's kind of cool. I'm looking forward to going out on that hunt in September, and I'll report back with how it goes.
Absolutely.
Man, there's no pressure shooting a freaking bow and arrow at.
Oh yeah,
it's no joke, dude.
I mean, joke.
We'll be 30 or 40 yards away.
Yeah,
like outside of that, like I can loosely hit a target. You know.
Well, you've been practiced, like you can shoot.
I practice, but you don't want to have a bad shot.
No, but how are you? Everything good? Like shooting your bow like 50 yards.
I'll hit
all the time. Like you're good to go.
I'll hit. Yeah. Like
but
50 yards.
You're a bad example. Like, how can I stand next to you with like a fucking tambourine and make you like shake because nothing? You'll be like laughing. It ain't like that, man. When they're fucking screaming, it's the coolest thing in the fucking world. I swear to God.
That's awesome. Well, I don't know if you want to get a bow and start hunting. I'm sure.
One thing at a time. I don't even know what I'm doing after this podcast. Probably going across the street to Buffalo Wild Wings and get all gooned up.
So, Bruiser, I mean, you know, like I said, there's a million things to talk about with TU Bruiser. But when you got done with TU Bruiser, what were your like looking back on it? Not looking back on it now, because now you just look back and everyone's like, "Oh, that was all." But when we got back 2 weeks later, what were you when you look back at it from that closer perspective?
I was kind of lost. Like, it's not gonna get any better than that, you know. I was in the next troop. I was the ops chief. Then I got fired. I didn't get fired. I get fired because I made senior chief. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, cool. All right. And then I had to go to the senior enlisted academy, and I was like, whatever. And, you know, then I went to Team 7. and I pretty much got fired, which was fine. I didn't want to do that anyway. And I was in ranges, and they're like, we need a guy to go do the provincial reconstruction team. I'm like, okay. So
in Afghanistan.
In Afghanistan. Yeah. So I went to Afghanistan. Well, I did this workout for like 2 months at Camp A in Indiana.
So this is a mission where you be going with, not with like a SEAL platoon, but you're going with some other kind of ad hoc group of people put together?
Oh, no.
What was it?
It was, I had a SEAL lieutenant commander as a CO.
Oh, okay.
And I was a SEAL senior chief, and we were the only SEALs. And I had about 100 people from the Navy, the Army, the National Guard,
so it was
and
ad
the
hoc.
Air Force.
So it was ad hoc.
Yeah. And
got it.
It was like leadership challenge, because I'm not used to working like with the regular, but I am used to working with the regular military because every frogman has to. Mm-hmm. So it really wasn't that bad, but I had like very, very minimal combat experience. I had a couple of guys, like these old crusty guys who were in the South Carolina National Guard. Some guys were in the Rangers. They were awesome, man. They were all like cops, sheriffs, or
dude, they must have loved you.
Oh yeah, or prison guards, and National Guard cats. They were friggin' awesome. Once we got through the language barrier, because I'm from New England, they're all from South Carolina. They were badass, man. They were like a platoon. That was just my platoon, and they were friggin' great. To a guy, every one of them was awesome. I had some reserve Seabees who took care of the trucks.
Yep.
I had guys with no combat experience, never even driving these trucks. Mortars coming in. They performed magnificently. It was cool, but I did a lot of vehicle work with them. Immediate action drills, how to deal with down people. And we actually got some pretty good training. I learned a few things. I'm not afraid to admit when I learned something from. But we're there like a year, and I broke off for like a month and a half, and just went back to my SEAL buddies and got after it. Got a bunch of gunfights, and we'd get mortared all the time. I'd be eating a sandwich, and rock Chinese 107s come in. I'm like, whatever. But it was cool.
What were you guys actually doing?
We'd go into areas and like. We wouldn't build schools. We wouldn't build bridges, but we'd facilitate it. We'd go in there and meet with the village elders. Say, we need this. Okay. So we'd send up a proposal, and then we'd go back, give them money, or put it out to bid. And, of course, that's all garbage. It's just a big, like, shakedown. All the local politicians, they just come in and take the money. And they're like, okay, we'll give you, let's say we give them $50,000 to build a bridge. All right, so the guy wins the bid. His company gets the $50,000. The politician comes in and takes like $30,000.
And then they build the bridge for $3,000.
No, they come back and they go, we don't have enough to finish. So we give them the rest of the money. It's like 20% of the 40%, 30%, I don't know what it is. Percentage is all shakedown money that were given to Afghanistan. It's like crazy. But, people think in this country that every other country's like us. Yeah, no.
Yeah. Well, I remember that. I don't know if you remember when we got to Ramadi, one of the things that the guys were concerned about was they were like, hey, the officers in the Iraqi army are taking the they're skimming some of the enlisted.
Yeah, we're worried about that.
And then it was like, you talk to the Iraqis, there's like, yeah, well, he's the boss. Of course he's going to take some of my money.
Yeah.
Like, he's going to take a little skim. That's the way it goes, And we were all thinking, like in America, if you heard that, hey, the officer is skimming money off the enlisted guys' paychecks, it'd be like, oh, that guy needs to be crucified.
Right.
Over there, they're like, well, they were like, well, yeah, of course he's taking a little. He's the boss.
It's not like people over there go like this. They see it on the like 6 o'clock news with, whatever chick, she's up there going, oh, today The scandal was there's none of that. It's just whatever. It's all Wild West. Just do whatever. You got big guns, you get all the money.
Then you spent that year. How many like different villages did you guys go try?
Oh my God,
like all kinds of them.
Yeah. Tons.
How would you get in there? Were you guys doing patrols in there? Vehicle patrols? Were you flying in?
We rarely used air assets. We always had air support though. Mm-hmm. At least standby, but most of the time we drove vehicles. I had somewhere between a dozen and up to like 20 vehicles. Mm-hmm. And I was usually the vehicle commander. I wasn't overall in charge of the operation.
Yeah.
Sometimes I was. Mm-hmm. But I took these people who never really been in a military vehicle that much, and we were okay. Survived a few ambushes, got blown up a few times, had wreckers with us, refueling tankers. I mean, it was crazy.
These were some long transits then.
Oh, yeah. 100 miles, some of them, one way.
The IED threat was
it was gigantic. Mm-hmm. It was gigantic. Like I said, we got blown up a couple times, but you could tell it was amateur hour. So back then, like I said, we had 3 big threats. One was your tripwires, or your manual, you know. And then you had
pressure plates.
Victim
activated.
Yeah. So your pressure plates. So the way we countered pressure plates is you got the mine rollers, and they're like an 8,000-pound thing that you put in front of either a MAT V or a whatever the other one is. I had my own MAT V. It was awesome. But so you roll that in front, and of course I had a driver. You know, but you can't just drive with that. You have to counterbalance the. It's weird. You have to learn how to drive it. So
that's like driving a trailer reverse.
Right. You'd have to put 8,000 pounds of pressure, or whatever it was. Maybe I'm wrong. And it would detonate. And if it does detonate, it'll fuck you up, but it's not going to flip, because you know how explosion works. It goes like this. So we had that for the pressure plates. For the.
So you had some countermeasures for the IEDs.
Yeah.
And you ended up hitting just a couple?
Yeah, just a couple. Yep. But around us, guys hit a lot.
Yeah.
So we had to respond. And we got pretty good at like going out, not really being a QRF, but going out and providing support. And we'd fan out, and I'd walk up and talk to who's in charge. And like, yeah, what can we do? You know, but Afghanistan was kind of cool because I really love the terrain. Big mountains, like a couple thousand, 9,000 feet up. You know, it was pretty cool. It was actually beautiful over there. I don't.
Yeah.
Could have ski friggin' lodges, and that's northeast Afghanistan. Out west, it's like desert, but it was cool. And then I came back from that, and I put my papers in to retire, and I was just like went back to Nyland, running the boys. But I had a great crew. I mean, pipe hitting guys. They just knew what to do. So I kind of like get up in the morning, have my coffee, and I hit the gym for a bit, maybe go for a run, and then jump in my side-by-side with my 12 gauge and go shoot rattlesnakes, then eat lunch, and then do that some more, go out to the range, look around. Everything good? Yep. Come back to the camp, like watch hockey and drink beer all night. I did pretty good. But I was like, I got to get out. I got to retire. So, and that's pretty much it. It was terrible to get out. It's just, I mean, I did some contract work for a while.
Yeah.
That dried up, and then went back to landscaping and construction type work, and that sucks, but it was cool. What are you gonna do?
Now you're retired now. Is that right?
Oh yeah.
I mean like retired. Like,
yeah.
You're not going to work every day right now.
No.
I guess that's what I mean by retired.
No, not this summer, not yet. So I'm just kind of like BTFing around. It's actually kind of cool.
Hey, I got some questions from
Yes,
people. And this is a great first question. It's very serious. In retrospect, what's the dumbest reason you've ever gotten into a bar fight? Probably be easier to figure out the smartest reason you ever got into a bar fight.
Well, I'd have to say Far East Rock one night, like watching Monday Night Football, and the Patriots were losing or something, and someone said, "Oh, well, you know what? That's cool because I don't have him in my fantasy football league," and I just went fucking whack, and I fucking smacked the guy. I don't know. It was like it's just terrible. Like I was pissed and drunk, and I don't, that was pretty dumb. But
there you go. Sounds like a good one. In 20 plus years in the teams, what situation challenged your leadership the most, and how did you work through it?
I'd probably have to say when Mark Lee got killed. I'd have to, honestly.
Yeah, of course.
And I mean, that's kind of a weird question, and I'll get to that, but I had to like shove that fucking shit deep down and not like show it and make sure that it was there for the rest of the guys, because the milk's on the floor. Obviously, you got to find out why it happened so we don't do it again. What the fuck, sometimes there is no answer. But I had to push that shit way down and focus on the tasks at hand, whatever they were the day. I couldn't just go, "Hey, Jocko," and like, "I'm a bag of shit. I'll see you in 2 days." You can't do that.
No.
So, I mean, I pushed it down before, but that I had to really, really, really push it down. So that was challenging. I mean, other times like leadership, I had guys that get DUIs. We intercepted the mail, hide it from the cops, so they never got DUI. Just take care of it on your own out in town. And I can say that because both the guys that did it for are dead. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I had no problem like fucking cutting through red tape. But yeah, that was probably the worst.
What was your favorite qualification school that you attended while in the teams?
Oh, that's easy. It's a cross between sniper school and the tracking course.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fucking great.
Yeah.
Yeah, really good.
That must have been when you were hunting.
Yeah.
Man, you must have just been like completely overjoyed.
Oh my God, yeah. But like tracking elk, if you've never done it, it's you don't have to go. You look over, especially if there's a little snow. Mm-hmm. There's like 8 billion tracks because they're in a herd. So it's not like you're like, "Ooh, look at me. I can see it from like 600 yards away." Like, yeah. Look, there's no snow there because it was just.
When you listen to these podcasts, when I had this guy, John Stryker Meyer, and his buddy Doug, the Frenchman, Laterno on, they'd be out in Laos or Cambodia, and there was NVA trackers with dogs that would be coming after them. They carried, as part of their standard loadout, they carried pepper, like dust, and some other what was the damn coughing medicine? What is it? Tear gas powder. Yeah. They had that, so they'd put that on their trail, and they'd hear the dogs, like the dogs would be coming.
So then they'd range them,
and then all of a sudden they'd start freaking out, and then they'd bring up another dog, skip that area, and I said to Tilt, I was like, "Do you?" I said, "You must hate dogs." He goes, "I hate them."
Well, yeah, but we train on how to defeat them, and it's like one way. There's several methods, but I mean, I'm not going to say it on here, like how to defeat them, but it's so simple, and it's got like nothing to do with the dog. Mm-hmm. It's like crazy. Mm-hmm. It works too. As we did exercises, and like, I mean, so I'm asking the cat, like, "Hey mate, are these dogs like they're good at like exercises?" He's like, "Oh no, mate, they're real dogs. They're going to bite you. Like, fuck, this is gonna suck. I better fucking be good at it. And not, going over my notes. Okay, what the, And yeah, they were like police dogs. Like, yeah, we're gonna get you. I mean, thank God. I mean, I did it right, but like, holy shit. That's one thing. It was a real world op. Like, I got an M16 with blanks.
Yeah.
Because there's really nothing in New Zealand that can hurt you. Like, there's no poisonous snakes. There's no.
New Zealand's freaking awesome.
Oh, man, it's freaking wonderful. The people are awesome.
Yeah, that place is just awesome.
Like Maury's, they're like so cool.
That's one of the places I went to.
They take you in like this, like, okay, yeah.
That's one of the places I went to where I was like, this is just awesome. Like, I could live there.
Oh, in a minute.
In a minute, I could live there. That place is freaking amazing.
Yeah, it is.
If you could go back in time and give yourself one piece of advice before joining the teams, what would that be?
I don't know. I don't think nothing. I wouldn't do it any differently. I could say I would have did this, but I'm glad I did stuff like as a knucklehead and had some hard knocks and No. I wouldn't have done anything differently. Because the bad stuff that I went through made me better on the good side. That kind of shit. But yeah.
That's one of those questions too.
It's
there's people that ask there's people that ask these kind of questions. They're looking for like a one thing answer of like, if you could tell yourself, here's another, if you could go back and tell yourself your 20-year-old self, what would you tell yourself? Like invest
in what is it, Apple or whatever.
Another one is what's the one leadership lesson you like? There's always that kind of thing, and they ask it about everything, man. People ask it about everything. What's the one book you would? They ask the same kind of question that
and there's never an answer.
Yeah, I mean, it's like what I figured out early on is like, okay, what book? Cool, About Face. Somebody asked me that. Somebody asked me that in the live podcast, and like I've been talking about Face since I started talking to people in the public. Yeah.
Oh, he's awesome.
And so this guy at the live podcast in New York, some guy says, if you could recommend one book, and I'm like, does anyone know the answer? Everyone's like, About Face. It was like, clearly the guy was not in the game to be asking that question.
Or you could easily say, like, remember like Cracked Magazine? Yeah. That was about the same,
Yeah, so it's weird. I'm not trying to, it's like people want to hear, they want the information to be so distilled down, but it's kind of like this. It's kind of
you got to do the work.
Yeah, it's kind of like being in jiu-jitsu and being like, what's the one move you should know in jiu-jitsu? It's like, there actually is not one move. So asking Tony what the one piece of advice, it's like, man, like what is that? Where do you start?
Stick to your guns probably is good.
Yeah.
Don't give up when don't like get away from your like, I want to say principles. I hate that word, but whatever you believe in, like the teams, like for me, it's always like, no, you don't do this, you don't do that. Like if I'm running a crew and everybody wants like more time off, and then you kind of give in, and no, here's what we're fucking doing. That's it. If you stick to that, and you can't blow up, disarm a bomb that already went off. Mm-hmm. So just stick to what you're doing. Unless it's so fucked up.
Of course.
But
I had this my second platoon commander, the real squared away guy, but we did a hydro at Camp Pendleton, and like we went out.
Red Beach.
It was a freaking nightmare. It was freezing.
Terrible.
The waves were huge. We go out. We do it.
It's frogman shit.
And
though.
then we get everything recovered. We come back. We sit there in the Zodiac typing up the freaking the message with the little codes in it for how the beach is. We come back. We get in. We draw them. The cartographer guys take all that information and draw the maps and blah 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 blah. and then the Marines launch. We land the Marines.
Yep.
And then the Marines weren't happy with what they did. They weren't happy with the landing. So they go reload. So the next night, they're like, okay, you guys going to go do it. We're doing the whole thing again. We're doing everything again.
Yeah.
So hydro recon. So we go out, and all of us boys were like, we just did the hydro,
Nothing's changed.
Yeah, nothing changed. And that boss, that OIC, he goes,
that's not the point.
He goes, I remember it clear as day because I'll never forget him saying this because I use this quote about 1 million times with all my guys. He goes, you're right. He goes, hey guys, we don't have to do the hydro again. But would that be the right thing to do?
Yeah, you got it.
And I was like, get your lead lines, boys. I mean, that's how, right?
Your biggest critic is the guy in the mirror.
Yeah.
That's the one you got to answer to, not anyone else, the guy in the mirror.
Yeah. That, like, I never forgot that. From then on, from the rest of my life, it's been like, what's the actual right thing to do right now?
Yeah.
What's the actual right thing to do
It's
right now?
usually the one that's so fucked up in the hottest way. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to suck.
Yeah.
And
it's like everything.
Yeah.
Well, I could do this or I could do that. No, which one's hotter?
Yeah.
Well, then that's the one that I probably should do. And 9 times out of 10, you're going to be right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Does this suck? This way's easy, but this way sucks. Okay, but that's the one I have to do.
Yeah.
Because then, if not, you're just like, I should have did this, but I'm just all weak and stupid. And then you just get all mad and you end up doing that anyway. So you might as well just do it and get it over with.
As a sniper team leader prepping for deployment, in your opinion, what are the top 5 things I should drilling my guys on to support combat operations? Limited range time, about 1 range every other month.
I wouldn't be so concerned about range time. I'd be concerned about environmental shooting, like nighttime, low light, sundown, sun up. Communication between each other, not so much like sniper spotter like everyone says. Put yourself in a 360 degree, white side, black side, whatever, and communicate. Okay, I got guys all around. How are we doing this? We got too much shit over here. Do we need to shift forces?
Yeah, you don't need a range to do that.
You don't need a range to do that.
You don't even need to carry weapons to do that.
You obviously have to shoot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then cross-training all the other guys on the sniper weapon, because sometimes you have to take a break and you got to give somebody else who's not a sniper. Doesn't mean you can't shoot a gun. I mean, it's easy, but do more cross-training on it. There's no reason that a non-sniper in a SEAL platoon shouldn't have 1,000 rounds through whatever weapon system we're using right now. There's no reason. Maybe 1,000's a little bit, but at least a couple hundred. There's no reason. We're that busy, getting up and going to work and like running around and talking about uniform standards. And we can't. I mean, come on. We got all this time. You have no one's shooting at you back here, so you should maximize that time. And don't get me wrong. You need time off to drink beer and be frogmen, but job is a job.
What did you do to keep Jocko in check?
Yeah, nothing. It's he's terrible. I
don't even know what that question is.
I know, but it's an important question to someone who doesn't know you. I don't know. Maybe not destroy everyone in the morning jiu-jitsu sessions. So when they had to actually do something, I had to yell in their other ear because I had cauliflower ear from getting fucking torqued.
Yeah.
Or basically, hey man, this guy not in our chain of command who's working in another department, he's limited. You don't know him, but I do. He's not. You kind of got to be. Not a frogman, but you kind of got to be a little gentle with this guy because he's good at what he does. Just don't go in there and scare him to death because he's just gonna like fade into the shredder room and cry. So maybe that, but very limited.
Yeah,
I don't know what you can do with this fucking guy.
I don't know. I think people, and we talked about this last time. It wasn't like, I mean, first of all, you and I were like, if you and I looked at a target, we would come up with a salute. We'd both have a plan that was like almost the same thing. It'd be so
why?
Close.
Because if this paper is the target, like when I look at it, there's nothing in my head but that. You look at it. Some people go, oh, yeah, okay. No, you look at it. Like really, really look at it and envision what this high ground here, what's on top of that high ground. Is there trees? Is there, how can I need to take this section of the map and I need to add the other 5 because we're coming from here. So I'll add boom, 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 and this, and then egress this way if this is my E&E plan. So next thing you know, the map's the size of this fucking room. That's how you look at a target. You don't just look at it and go, oh yeah, well, I'd go in here. What? Who says you got to go in? There's 150 ways to do this mission, but you have to look at that target and really, really look at it, and then envision it in 3D as you're walking up to it. That's I don't know. I think that's what we do pretty good.
Yeah, I just always remember like some mission, whether it was overseas or no matter what. Yeah. I'd be like looking at it going, I think it'd probably be good to do it like this. And then you'd be like, why don't we do this? And I'm like, yep.
There may be like one little difference, but that's minute.
I think with BTF Tony, can you share some stories about team guys that influenced you in good and bad ways during the early days in the teams?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we've been talking about that the whole time. I think one of the reasons I picked that question was because it said in good and bad ways.
Bad ways, I just think not being totally 100% team guy. I've seen some guys who are in charge of me that, they just seemed to, at the time, a little more interested in, just getting through what we were doing and not really... it's like, hey, Chief, 2 weeks ago when we were doing this, I want to bounce my notes off yours. He's like, well, I don't have any notes. I'm like, all right. That's terrible. That's terrible. Why don't you have any notes? Like, isn't this like the pinnacle of your fucking career? Because for me it was. And, yeah, I get it if there was no war going on. But still, isn't that... That's why I say some of these guys were champions. Like, I'm utmost respect, fucking awesome cats. Some of them, they kind of put us behind the power curve when the shit really hit the fan after 9/11 because they were just kind of going through the motions. And they didn't, like, before we got into the mobility world, they're like, oh yeah, we'll either get dropped off by helo and hump in or come in by boat. Like, what about vehicles? Well, we don't really do that. What do you mean we don't do that? How are you going to get from point A to fucking B, And then once we started doing it, it was a bunch of catch-up. It took fucking smart guys like TK there to really ramrod the mobility program and do that kind of shit. And I'm like, why didn't you guys think of this? I mean, why didn't I think of it? I mean, I kind of did, but I was a lonely... or low guy trying to learn the ropes, and I don't think they did us any favors.
I didn't think about it. I didn't think about mobility. I wasn't thinking to myself like, oh, cool. Why don't
but other guys that are frogmen or tier 1 cats were doing it.
Yeah. What I like, I was still trying to sort out like just how to be a good team guy.
Right.
But yeah, looking at, it seems like those days there was it seemed like we needed as a community to look at like what could happen.
One
right?
big thing that I was looking at when I was a young team guy was I realized a long fucking time ago that there are no terrorists really I mean, I'm wrong about some things in Afghanistan, but there are no real bad guys in the middle of fucking nowhere. There's going to be buildings. It's not going to be
An
urban
isolated-
combat and then out in the middle, land warfare in the middle of nowhere. It's going to be a mix.
Yeah.
And as soon as we got rid of the sub guns and started carrying long guns for close quarter battle, that's one of the starts.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was always going to be a mix. Whether you're coming over the beach,
Yep.
you're coming in,
Even going onto a ship.
yeah, oh yeah,
Because some people want to stick with sub guns because you're going on a ship.
And I love the sub guns.
Oh, yeah,
Don't get me
for
wrong.
sure.
They're awesome.
For sure.
But at 100-yard fantail shot
Yeah.
or 150,
Yeah. You could have some issues.
yeah, big issues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At what point in your career did you start to feel competent in operating? Killing the enemy and making sure your brothers came home with you. Did you start to feel like you could do it every day and be successful?
Yeah, I always felt that way. Yeah.
How many platoons did it take before you started feeling competent?
Like one. I mean, I always felt like I was good to go.
Yeah.
I could do this. I have fantasized about. I'll admit it. I couldn't wait to kill anybody. You know, I loved it because that's your job. Like,
Yeah.
and it was kind of a letdown. Like, it was you think like in the movies and all. You train so much. It's like bang, all right, on to the next one. But yeah, I felt it right away. It's not that. That was never the issue. The issue's always been confident as a leader. Mm-hmm. That took a while. It wasn't immediate. It took me a while.
How good were you as an LPO when you were an E5?
I thought I was pretty good, but
When you look back on it?
no, I was okay because we didn't have a lot of. I was basically really good at the basic stuff.
See, I always felt like once I got done with a job, I would want to go back and do it again, and I'd feel like I would do it so awesome, and you don't get to do that.
Right.
You know
don't.
what I mean?
You don't.
I did a platoon commander. I was like, and I did fine.
Yeah.
But like as soon as I got done, I was like, I should have done this. I should have done that. As a TU commander, I got done. I was like, man, I should have done this. I should have done that.
Yeah.
Just wanted to do better.
Well, absolutely. I mean, the LPO thing, when you're a peacetime LPO, and I don't know, I was always mixing it up, and everybody seemed to like me. I mean, they didn't bitch too much. A couple guys did, but it was all good. You can't do everything. Yeah, all the team guys under your friggin' belt, there's going to be guys go, oh, he was a fucking asshole, and he just fucking did this, was stupid. Of course, there's going to be that, you know, but I think for the most part, I mean, I did all right. Tried to. I mean, I could have done better, like telling people how, you're doing good and, it's all okay. No. I'm glad I was a dick, kind of, with stuff.
But when you say that.
Not a dick, but a professional
No, but even
dick.
that, you say that like, and Leif pointed this out to me the other day, and he remembered it, and it's funny because I had just written about it. What I wrote about was like, if a platoon at land warfare was doing good, I wouldn't say like, this is when I was in trade. I wouldn't say, hey, you guys kicked ass as a task unit. I wouldn't say, hey, you guys. I'd say, hey, Bill, you and your fire team did a good job holding down the black side of that target. And hey, Mike, when you grabbed that other guy and you flanked those dudes on the hill, that was awesome. But I would never just say collectively everyone did awesome because then what happens is they all fall apart.
Yeah.
And that's what you did too. You used to, if somebody did something good, you would tell them they did good.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't be like, hey, everyone did great.
No, of course not.
Because the chances of that
That's
happening.
like false. Like, oh, everything we did was amazing. This is amazing. Everything's amazing. That's so fucking stupid. I hate that. Like, you did your job. Like, what do you want? A fucking medal? Yeah, here's your medal. Here's an MRE. Go over there and be stupid. Go get your shit ready. We got another op. And besides, it's not like I talk down to everybody. These are my brothers. It's like, yeah, man, that was cool. That's about the best team guy compliment you can get.
Yeah.
Hey, that went all right. Yeah. Good job. Yeah, okay.
Cool.
Yeah, on to the next thing. Yeah. Guy's like, yeah, I got to go to the head. Whatever. It's like no big deal.
Last question. Do you still smile when you hear "Stand by to get some"?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, come on. It's like it's going to happen. And, and after a while, it's like, fuck yeah. Yeah, bring it. It's like that cat there when Teddy ball game. Mm-hmm. I mean, he was hitting 402, and he had a 2-game series, and they're like, man, you're hitting over 400. Just don't play. You're the only guy who's ever hit over 400. He's like, fuck that. And he went like 3 for 5, and he went to like 406, 407. And he risked it all because, I'm playing. Yeah. And mind you, this is a guy who took time off to fly jets in Korea, or World War II and Korea. I mean, like, yeah. What are we going to do? Like, okay, we're going home in a week. Well, we're not going to do this up. Fuck you, we're not going to do this up. Then, we go home. I mean, what if you'd have died right before you? So what? That's why I'm here. I mean, if that happens, it happens. Who gives a fuck? I mean, it's what it is, right?
That is what it is.
Teams and shit. That trumps everything. It's like teams and shit. Okay, I'm a team guy. That's it. All right, done.
Yes, indeed.
Good to see you, brother.
Teams and shit.
Good to see you, brother.
Right on, man. Good
you
place
too,
to
Echo.
wrap.
Good to see you, man.
Always.
Freaking awesome to have you back on.
Yeah, I'm glad I could, man.
And hopefully I'll see you up in Maine if you can swing by.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. I'm sure a bunch of people are going to want to meet you up there.
I already told one of my cats back home. He's like, oh, I'll fucking drive the Harley down there. I'm all set.
Echo.
Yes.
Speaking of standing by to get some, what do you got? How can we be more prepared to get some, as they say?
Many ways. All right. Well, one way, as we always say, is jiu-jitsu. Tony knows a little bit about that as well. When you do jiu-jitsu, we need gis, right? Unless you're doing no gi, but we recommend gi and no gi. So when you get a gi, where do we get them? Origin. So
Tony's from New England, and Tony and I were talking yesterday. And man, if you grew up in New England, then you saw the economy get just annihilated.
Yep.
And whether it was the factories that were shutting down, the textile factories that were shutting down, the clothing manufacturers, the shoe manufacturers, the paper manufacturers
back home,
got shut down. And it's one of those things that when I talk to companies and they say, well, you were dealing with life and death, and we're not. And I say, yeah, but you're dealing with people's livelihoods.
Yeah,
and what as a mom, as a dad, your livelihood is that's your life. That is your life. And so if you grew up in New England, and New England's not the only place because it's all over America. When manufacturing got taken away and sent overseas, it's a nightmare. You go up to these towns and there's no work. No. Not that people don't want to work. Believe me, they're New Englanders. They want to work. Yep. And I keep saying New Englanders because...
But it's everywhere.
But it's everywhere.
Get it. Yep.
Americans want to work. And so, with Origin, and when you come up and see the factory, we got 45 or 50 folks now employed in Farmington, which is awesome.
Maine.
Yep, Farmington, Maine. And, it's like, are they employees? Yeah, they're employees because they're working there. But you know what they are? They're part of what we're doing.
Yeah, they're part of something.
They're part of something.
Yep.
They're the ones that are actually making the gear, making the jiu-jitsu gis, making the jeans. We started making jeans. I'll get you some jeans when we get up there.
Yep.
Boots. We're making boots. I'll get you some boots when we get up there.
Perfect.
Like, we got folks that have been out of work for 14 years.
They're fucking stoked to be getting after it.
Stoked to be back. They want nothing more than to come in and get on those machines, make the boots, make the jeans. We just started printing like we're doing everything.
Yep.
We're doing everything. So I'll bring you up there if you guys come. And if you can't make it up then, you can come up whenever you want. Yeah. You got an open pass to go to the factory in Maine and check it out and see, You know, it's just a beautiful thing to go up there and see a town that's, and this is just the starting point, man.
Yeah.
And people can think I'm, you know, dreaming. I'm not. Like, we're going to build this thing. It is going to be massive. We're going to bring back manufacturing to America, and there's no one's going to stop us. That's what's going to happen.
Who's going to stop us?
No one. So if you need something like that, if you need a gi, if you need a rash guard, get it from originmain.com. If you need a pair of jeans, go on there and get them. Somebody said, these jeans are expensive. And I said, you know what I said? You're right. You're right. They are too expensive. Right now, they're not at the price point we want to get them down to. But as we build more and grow more, we'll be able to get those expenses down. But we have to start somewhere.
Yeah,
and we can't
absolutely.
obviously give them away.
No, you got to pay the people.
We got to pay the workers. So we're getting there. We will build this, and there's nothing's going to stop us.
Yeah, I don't think they're that expensive anyway.
Well, they're cheaper. They're more expensive than a pair of mass-produced jeans from China. In a sweatshop where they're paying their employees literally 50 cents a day. Yes, our jeans more expensive than that.
They fucking last.
They're gonna last forever. They're $100.
Whatever.
You buy 2 pairs, it's $100. So, anyways, that's the deal. And if you think $100 is too much, hey man, I get it.
Save up.
Get yourself a pair of
yourself
a pair of jeans made in China
Yep.
that are made in a sweatshop where, you know, the corporation's going to make all the money and none of it's going to come back here to America. So, all right, sorry, I'm getting a little crazy now, but
man.
these
Respect.
Buy my fucking jeans.
Yeah.
Well, if you don't buy jeans, there's other stuff too, which is also good
Tons
news.
of other stuff.
So what? Supplements. So important supplements too. Keep you in the game. Joint Warfare Krill Oil, which I had an experience and didn't even know it when I went to Hawaii.
You went off the...
I went off. Didn't even realize it. You know, the kind you just sort of...
You went off and
off the Krill Oil and Joint Warfare.
Dude.
And here's the weird thing. My elbow, I always
That's
get
an amateur
tendon,
move
bro,
right there.
It is. You're correct. Yeah, it was amateur. And I didn't even realize it till I got home. So I go, you know, and I was lifting. I was working out.
Tendinitis?
Yeah, elbow.
I had it so bad, this one.
Yeah, bro. If you go on the Joint Warfare and Krill Oil, if you don't have some, I'll give you some. It's good. It takes I guess it depends on who you are. It took me 6 days for it to really start to go away.
That's only a couple days more than a cortisone shot, though. Really?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, right? It takes 2.5 days.
You
for
will
cortisone.
feel it. Like, you go and read the reviews of Joint Warfare, and there's people that are saying, "Oh, I couldn't lift my whatever, you know, I couldn't swing my hammer, whatever. I'm back in the game."
Mobility.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
It's completely
it's
true.
legit.
So I come back and I'm like, okay, let me get, back into live. I was like, man, I wasn't lifting that hard in Hawaii and not as often either. So I'm like, why is my elbow kind of bothering me? And I'm like, oh my gosh, totally hit me. I was like, dang, yet another instance of me playing myself. But proof, you see what I'm saying?
Yep.
Anyway, so yeah, stay on that. Joint Warfare and the Krill Oil. There's also discipline.
Mm-hmm.
Good deal, Dave's on the discipline train big time. I'm with him on that train.
Oh,
Pretty
really?
much every day. Pretty much daily, yeah.
Daily discipline.
Yeah.
Yep.
In all things. And this is
one
yet
of them.
another one. Yes. Also milk if you want additional protein. In the form of a dessert, by the way. One of the best desserts out there.
No, I never would have thought what I'll do is make a dessert that's got protein. I wouldn't think that because it doesn't seem like it's a possible, feasible thing.
Yeah.
But then it turns out to be, yes, it is one.
That is
I known
true.
Jocko a long time, and one of his favorite sayings is not actually a saying. He's just talking to you because you're next to him, going, fucking starving right now. Like always starving. Okay, we ate an hour and a half ago. He's like, fucking so hungry right now. Like, really?
Yeah, well, now he goes on all these crazy fasts, though, right? Intermittent fasting and whatnot.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, get some milk.
Yeah,
tastes
milk is
good.
good.
Get some tea, some Jocko white tea, and don't forget about the Warrior Kid milk,
yeah,
which I think is the game changer.
yeah.
There's going to be guys from back home. A lot of guys watch podcasts, but can you just go over the
what?
.com again, whatever it is?
Oh.
Origin.
OriginMain.com. Maine as in the state.
Right. MAINE.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep, orjamin.com. So where you get all this stuff. Also, Jocko has a store. It's called Jocko Store. Of course, you know, he's super creative with the names and whatnot.
Put a lot of thought into it.
Yeah, man. It's good. Turned out good. Anyway, that's where you can get
That's
shirts.
who was it? It was, I think, Flynn Cochran.
Sure.
He was saying that the original Jocko product was, because I used to give like a brief, the leadership brief to the guys that were starting, and he's like they called that the Jocko brief, and I didn't think about it. I was like, oh yeah, that's like the original
Jocko product.
Yeah,
huh.
and then so I can't be just blamed on lack of creativity from my part.
Well, yeah, you can.
I guess I can.
Yeah, full on, 100%
'cause.
actually. Yeah. And also, you got to ask the question: did Flynn come up with that after
No.
Jocko podcast?
No, it was, and then Mike Sorelli, same thing. Like, oh, this is the Jocko brief.
You know what though? When you kind of think about it, what do you call it? Like phonetically or whatever. I don't know if that's the correct word, but like when you say Jocko, it's kind of matches. You know, like Jocko Store, Jocko Brief. It's not like it's like you know.
Yeah, the whole
Black
reason,
Eyes and
speaking,
Peas.
you know what, that story that you just told about me being hungry, the reason this whole thing started with Jocko is because when I was on Tim Ferriss's podcast, I fasted that day, and he was like, well, you know, we've been talking for a long time, you know, maybe we should go get something to eat. And I went, Jocko hungry.
Did you really?
Like I was just joking, you know,
but not really.
But then like a little while later, it was, oh, we're going to have a podcast. And I was like, oh, okay. Jocko podcast, almost like I'm a knucklehead, right? Or
Almost,
like I actually am a knucklehead. So what do we call it? Jocko podcast. That was the original.
But it sounds good though. Unless it's like if you're gonna name something like that starts with an O, that's when it wouldn't really work. Like if it was like Ocean, Jocko Ocean. Even that kind of sounds good, I guess.
Now I need to take over an ocean somewhere.
Well, you know, hypothetically, you understand what I'm saying.
Sure.
Unless Jocko Stores, where you can get shirts. Discipline equals freedom. Boom. More rash guards on there too, by the way.
Yep. Which are Origin rash guards, by the way.
Yes, sir, they are.
Made in America.
Jocko Taco.
Jocko,
No, that wouldn't be good.
No, that works.
Ooh,
You
that
think
would
so?
be good.
Jocko Taco. Oh yeah.
Damn.
There's a place on Quiet called Paco's Tacos. So,
Sham.
There
you know,
you go.
same
That would
deal.
be-
Jocko
that would be
Tacos.
good.
So I need to start a taco shop.
Yes.
Well, why not?
Yeah.
Might as well.
Obviously. Jeez.
We'll have to talk
Ain't
to
none
George.
around here in
Have
San
to talk to
Diego.
George Farfan.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Huh. Maybe
I
get in
can't
league
find
with him.
one taco shop around here in
I
San
know, man.
Diego.
They're
when
very
my
scarce.
when my oldest daughter, who's at
So
college
good.
now, my oldest daughter comes home, then she'll like fly home, and she will stop at a taco shop.
Oh, yeah, in San
on
Diego,
the way
the best-
home from the airport.
Best
Just
carne
like,
asada ever.
I'm like, oh, cool. It's looking forward to seeing you. You gonna be home in 10 minutes? And he's like, no. I'll be home in half an hour because I'm going to get a taco.
Well, absolutely.
Going to get a California burrito.
Oh, I had like 3 of them in the last 4 days. You kidding me?
Yeah.
Oh, so
You
good.
just can't change that. All right, so cool.
So
You can
Jocko
get that
Ocean, Jocko's Tacos, and Jocko Store, of course, like we were saying. Shirts, rash guards, hoodies, hats, you know, all kinds of stuff you want to represent while you're on the path. Boom. Good place to do so. Also, subscribe to the podcast if you haven't already. If you're into it. If you're into subscribing, super easy. But yeah, on Google Play, Stitcher, iTunes, you know.
Don't forget about the Warrior Kid podcast for the children. Stories, not just questions, but stories from Uncle Jake about how Uncle Jake got his values in life. What made him say, I should be prepared? You want to know how? I tell the story. Uncle Jake goes on a little, there's a little rowboat. And Uncle Jake and his buddy, when he's 8 years old, go out on the rowboat. And while they're out on the rowboat, he says, we don't need life jackets because, we're just going to
nice day
we're just going
out.
to paddle around here. Yeah. So they're out in the rowboat and they're clowning around or whatever and let go of the oars for a second. They both slip out through the oar locks and there's a wind blowing. So within 5 seconds, they're gone and they're in the middle of the lake.
Yep.
And they have to drift all the way to the other side and then borrow some. But, there was that moment where things were bad.
Yep.
So that's when Uncle Jake learned you need to always be prepared for things to go down. That's an actual story, too, by the way. That really happened to me. That really happened to me. So there you go. Stories from Uncle Jake on the Warrior Kid podcast. So get some of that.
Also, speaking of warrior kids, it's a warrior kid that I know. I've heard of. Myth. It's not a myth.
Not
it's
a
real.
myth, real.
His name is Aiden. Making warrior kid soap. Not warrior kid soap. Jocko soap. He's the warrior kid. That's
See, now we got Jocko soap too.
Jocko
Things
soap.
are getting out of hand.
And that sounds good too. Jocko soap. There's also Trooper soap, by the way, which is like another, what do you call, flavor, if you will.
Yeah.
Soap's not flavors,
No,
right?
don't
They're
eat
just
it.
like something
Clean
else.
with it. Use it to wash up, and it'll help you
Stay clean. Yes. Very
It
good.
smells like
Irish.
nothing. It smells like war.
Actually, it smells pretty good, to be honest with you. Yeah.
Hey, that would be awesome to make.
Smells like war.
Soap that smelled like cordite or whatever.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
that'd be
Gunpowder.
So good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it smells like
Napalm.
that victory in the morning.
Well, Jocko white tea tastes like victory.
Yeah, that's true.
you
Good
know.
point.
Well, when you say it should smell like war, that sort of made me think of how you and Leif and actually all you guys would tell us how war smells like gunpowder and
yeah.
sewage.
And
Yeah,
terrible.
sewage.
That's actually the terrible idea.
Yeah. After
Can
further,
it smell like the range? The range smells good. You know what doesn't smell good? Diesel fumes in the back of a Sea Fox.
No, or when you're in a helo and refueling, like in the air, in flight refueling.
I don't think I've ever done that.
It's effing terrible.
There's just diesel everywhere.
It's just like, it's just like, and I don't like ever get sick about that stuff. But I was like,
I've
get high.
I got seasick 2 times. Once was in the back of a Sea Fox, fell asleep with the diesel
Sea
fumes
Fox.
just in, and then the next one was in an LCU. I was downstairs in a raging storm, waterproofing the radios in the engine room, just diesel and rocking all over the place. I came up and started yakking, and the BMC that was running the LCU was hanging his head over the side yakking. So I was like, all right, I'm cleared hot.
technically, is that getting seasick though? If it's from the
No.
diesel fumes?
I don't know.
Yeah,
It was a mix. It was a
I
mix.
never did it, so yeah, you got seasick.
Yeah, see? There you
It never
go.
happened to me.
There you go.
There you go. Nonetheless, the scent, aroma of the Trooper soap and the Jocko soap is pretty good
Ah, okay.
and very functional, by the way.
You were still talking about that?
So, yeah, man, it's very important. I mean, we could talk about the diesel fuel fumes, seasickness some more if you guys want.
True. All right, I'll take the hit. Nicely
No,
done.
I'm
Point taken.
Up
He's
to
doing
you,
his
bro.
job.
Up
Yeah.
to you.
Dude, doing a good job.
Anyway,
I'll take the hit.
Also, we have a YouTube channel. BTF Tony into YouTube or what?
Not really, but
Yeah. I'd be surprised if you were, but you can get addicted to various videos. Nonetheless, we have a YouTube channel with good videos, video version of this podcast, excerpts, enhanced excerpts.
Enhanced means that Echo puts all these effects in them.
I gotta watch that. Then. I
And
gotta,
music.
explosions.
Yep.
Things are on fire.
Yeah, I'll show you one after this. It's good.
absolutely.
Yeah. But yeah, YouTube channel, Jocko Podcast. Boom. Also, psychological warfare.
Psychological warfare. Yeah.
What is that, bro?
It's an
Because
album
you always
with-
get mad at me explaining it. You see what I'm saying? Even though I have the best explanation.
Here's what psychological. If you ask for an alarm clock, which is kind of where this started, if you're asking for an alarm clock that has me telling you to get up, there's where you get it. Psychological warfare. It's on iTunes. It's on Google Play. It's on MP3. It actually started when Echo asked me a question about something, and I was like, "Here's the answer." And then he was like, "I'm going to record that," and then we just
Went
made
from
that.
there.
Yeah,
That's cool.
The question was,
What was the original question?
The original question one, and it was with me, was with workouts. So like when I work out or when I plan a workout and I just really don't feel like it. And that's a common thing. Like,
yeah.
you just do it anyway. You don't be a BTF through
Yeah.
it, right? So I'm thinking, man, I wish I was better at BTF-ing through it. You see what I'm saying?
I
So I'm
wish
like,
I was too lately.
I know, bro. See, it's a real thing. So I'm like, I want, because I can imagine, Jocko just BTF through it. So I'm like, but what do you say? Like what goes on in your mind? Do you just not think about it at all and you just sort of automatically do it,
Yeah.
or do you say something, or I don't know, like what is it? What's
I
the
don't know.
message?
I like 2 weeks ago I turned 51, and I'm like,
Happy birthday.
I actually made it past 50. You gotta fucking be. It's got to do something right.
yeah,
Yeah.
And especially when you think you're gonna not make it to 30.
for sure.
Oh yeah, I'm like, I don't know.
There you go.
It doesn't get any. Every day you get older, it gets terrible. You wake up and you're like, oh, what is this now?
Oh yeah.
Like here, like what's this?
I
Not even your
realize
hamstring.
you know how I've said one of the things I notice about getting older is, and I don't notice that much, and I don't admit that I don't notice it either. So even if I was in a ton of pain, I wouldn't tell anyone.
Yes.
But one of the things that I have admitted is that my first couple rounds of jiu-jitsu, I use a couple rounds to warm up now.
Yeah.
Like even if, especially if I'm going with Dean and Andy.
Yeah.
So Andy didn't used to be in this bracket. He's in there now. So
Gotta
and
warm
here's the
up
other thing that I noticed. Because I couldn't run when I hurt my knee. And so now that my knee's like getting better, I can run again. Not, crazy. But what I noticed is same thing. If the first half mile that I run, I must look like a person that's just never run before. and then the longer I run.
What do you mean the first half? Like you run more than a half a mile?
No, man, geez.
What are you doing?
When I'm coming home and once I'm warmed up, I'm like, oh yeah, cool. And that's one thing that sucks is when you were young, you just didn't have to do anything, and you'd show up to it. You didn't do anything for 3 months, and then you show up at a team. They're like, "Hey, we're doing a 9-mile run today." You'd be like, "Cool, just go out and do it, and fine." Mm-hmm. Now you'd like the first half mile.
Yep.
You got a flat tire, like what? Run the shit. Chick boom, chick boom, chick boom, chick boom.
Yeah,
like terrible.
Yeah, if you want a visual version of little things to keep you on the path, then go to flipsidecanvas.com. Dakota Meyer, he's got a company there. Again, made in America, made right in Austin, Texas, making cool artwork. I'm trying to think of a better word for that because I don't like saying artwork.
You don't match.
I know.
Saying artwork.
So you need to tell me,
artwork, though.
I know, but is there a better word?
I don't know. No, I think it's artwork.
Visual, inspirational shit.
I don't know. Inspirational might be worse.
Yeah,
inspirational. I mean, as far as Jocko's saying it, I dig it. It's inspirational stuff, factually.
Not really my thing.
For lack of a better term.
Flipsidecanvas.com, for whatever you want to call it, you hang it on your walls. Awesome. You know why he named it that? Because the last thing he said to one of his teammates in Afghanistan was, "All right, man, well, I'll see you on the flip side." Yeah. And everyone on his team died, including that guy. Yeah. And so he's like, that's what the name of the company came from, man. So support Dakota and his company, flipsidecanvas.com. He's making all kinds of cool graphics. Is that better?
Graphics on there. But that's not the end product.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to think of something eventually. Maybe I'll make up a word for it, like mulk.
Yeah, maybe.
In fact, I think I'm going to do that.
All right,
we'll think about it. Watch this.
Jocko canvas.
Yeah.
That doesn't match.
No.
And the last, also on it. So onit.com/Jocko. This is where you can get workout gear. There's some cool. Do you do sandbags?
Yes. Did you watch my little clip I put out? My edit.
The time lapse one?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I did. I didn't pay max attention. So you got sandbags on there. That's what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I was on.
Yeah. I was in there. By the way, if anyone that band that I clipped out there, it's called Life's Blood. It's an old school hardcore band from upstate New York. That's from an old 7-inch that Elgin James sent me because there was a great band. They're a great band. The lead singer is now a cop somewhere in Atlanta or something. But anyways, that's Life's Blood. I don't know where you can find it, but
that's the music on that video
that I edited in there.
Yeah, hell yeah, Jocko's editing now, by the way.
Ooh, yeah. I'm going to take Echo's job from him.
That's friggin' dangerous, isn't it,
Well,
Echo?
maybe I'll take over Echelon Front, maybe do the briefings on that.
Yeah, let's see.
Yeah, maybe. I will.
Check. So
anyway, what I was trying to say about the sandbags is when I was getting stuff from On It, I saw the sandbags. I was like, I'm going to get this. I don't have a sandbag routine yet. So
for those of you that were wondering what I was doing with the sandbag, I pick it up, throw it over my shoulder, turn around, pick it up, throw it over my shoulder. Do over and over again.
How big is it?
I don't
or how
even
heavy
know.
or whatever?
I don't know. My son, when he came home from wrestling camp, and he was like, kind of walking around the house, he did 2 weeks of wrestling, the really good wrestling camp called J-Rob, 14-day intensive wrestling camp, awesome camp, and they they put these guys through the ringer. It's wake up in the morning, conditioning, breakfast, wrestling, lunch, wrestling, dinner, conditioning. And they do that for 14 days straight. To graduate, you have to, the last thing you do is a 12-mile run. So, like, it's, and you're all beat down when you're doing that. So, yeah, when he came home from that, you know, he was kind of bowing up a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that'd been perfect.
Yeah, he was bowing up, and I said, "Oh, you want to do a little workout?"
Oh, you
cool.
wanna-
Handed him this sandbag, and I was like, "Yeah, do this, 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 and this." He didn't like that sandbag too much.
Bro.
Not
Yeah.
yet.
All right, well, I'm going to take another look at that because I think I am going to get this handbag.
Oh, you should definitely get one.
Also,
Definitely
yes,
get one.
kettlebells on there. That's where all my kettlebells are from. And yeah, a lot of good stuff on there. Go there, onit.com/Jocko.
Hey, I wrote a bunch of books. Way of the Warrior Kid, Warrior Kid 2, Mark's Mission, Warrior Kid 3, Where There's a Will, Mikey and the Dragons, and Discipline Equals Freedom Field Manual, Extreme Ownership and the Dichotomy of Leadership. These are a bunch of books I wrote. If you like what we're talking about here, if you're an adult, get the adult books. If you're a kid, get the kids' book. If you have kids, get them the kids' books. And you might want to check out the kids' books, even if you're an adult.
Yes, I agree.
So there you go. Echelon Front, that's our leadership consultancy. And what we do is solve problems through leadership. Go to echelonfront.com for details. It's what we do all day, every day. EF Online. This is leadership training, online, interactive, and put you on the spot, ask you questions. When you become a leader, or when you're going to become a leader, you're not going to learn everything in one shot. And just like an arm lock, you don't learn it one time and now you're good. You have to practice. And that's what efonline.com will allow you to do. We got the next muster coming up September 19th and 20th in Denver. And then December 4th and 5th in Sydney, Australia. ExtremeOwnership.com for details. If you want to come, sign up right now because otherwise it's going to sell out. They've all sold out. And of course, we got EF Overwatch, where we're taking proven spec ops leaders and combat aviation leaders and placing them into companies in the civilian sector that need one thing more than anything else to win, and that is they need leaders. And if you don't feel like we've talked for long enough and you want to talk to us more, you can find us on the interwebs. Tony is at Frogman NH164. Do you think you know your password?
Yeah, I got it somewhere.
Yeah. People are gonna want to like ask you questions, and then you can be like,
Yeah, 99% of it's gonna be.
That's 99% of my text back and forth with Tony. Is
Yeah, it's ridiculous. You guys should see it. if you link up with me and we're talking, and you're like, Jocko, what were you guys talking about? I'll be like, yeah, check this, because I don't really erase anything with that.
Yeah.
Here's Jocko's text. Like 70 lines. I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude. What are you on a crapper or something? How do you have all this time? I can do like 3 lines, and he's like, yeah.
And also, Echo and I are on Twitter. We're also on Instagram, and we're also on the Frugelbogen.
Schiffrosenbogen.
Echo is at Echo Charles, and I am at Jocko. Echo, anything else?
No, sir, nothing else. Thanks, BTF Tony.
Tony,
Echo,
anything else, brother?
Pleasure, my brother. No, man, thank you for having me on. Good to see you guys. Got a nice pad here now. It's good to go. Never been here.
Yeah, awesome.
I'd like to shout out to all my friends back home, if I don't anybody and everybody I know. And I'm in San Diego right now, and all my team guy buddies and my girlfriend Becky and Marf, Marf back home.
Yeah.
And all my chums back there. I'll see you guys soon, and thanks for having me on. Always a pleasure. You guys are class act.
Awesome,
Really,
brother. Well, man.
And teams and shit.
Of course. Yeah. Thanks for coming back on again, obviously. And hopefully I'll see you.
Been 150 episodes.
Yeah. It's been
Podcast?
150 episodes since you were on episode 41, and we're now on 191.
Wow.
It's
crazy.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, we got to do, next time we do this, we got to have someone in here. Like with me, someone else with me, because this like I'm running. I'm not that interesting. I can't remember any shit half the time. And
No, what you should do is next time we'll listen to this one and then go and write down notes of what you want to talk about next time, and like 5 stories or whatever.
oh yeah,
things or
like,
whatever.
If we could get on like someone we were talking about, like my first LPO and someone like that.
Oh, you want to get someone like that on?
Yeah, with me.
Oh, yeah, for
instead
sure.
of just me. You
Yeah.
know, with you guys. Like,
Yeah, no, man. Any of the old
oh,
fellows
awesome.
that want to come on, if I could have him come on, that'd be sick.
Yeah, I'll ask him.
Yeah, ask him, and yeah, man, we'll do it again. And
I'll see you in Maine.
yeah, we'll see you in Maine. Thanks for coming back. Thanks for everything you did.
Thank you, brother.
You know, holding that thread that I was talking about earlier, that thread through the years when there was no war going on, there's plenty of people that, you know, they did their job and they went on their deployments or whatever. You were freaking towing the line, man. You were towing the line and keeping that knowledge base, improving that knowledge base. That's what you did so that when we got to war, we were ready. So thanks for doing that.
Oh, my pleasure.
For the teams. Thanks for everything you did for Bruiser, of course. And as far as I'm concerned, you're actually the model of the American fighting man.
Oh.
You're the motherfucker that went up against the Japanese and the Nazis and said, you know what? We don't care what kind of warrior culture that you have. We got something else. We're Americans and we're about to fuck you up.
That's right. We got something that none of you other countries have. And they're going to go, what? And they're like, fucking John Wayne. If you can produce anyone a quarter as good as that man, then I'll maybe listen to you. We have fucking John Wayne. Best guy ever in the history of ever. If you don't, if you model yourself to him in everyday life, then you got nothing to worry about.
Check.
What would John Wayne do? He'd either go yes, no, or punch you.
Good options.
And then he'd have a bunch of whiskey. And then, shoot a bunch of people and get on his horse and go have a steak. And smoke like 200 cigarettes.
Good plan.
Yep. Good
Big plan. Hey, awesome. Everyone else, all the other veterans out there that have served, thanks for what you've done. Those that are serving right now,
Yes,
thanks
sir.
for what you continue to do to our police and law enforcement and firefighters, paramedics, EMTs, dispatchers,
BP.
Border Patrol, correctional officers, Secret Service, all the first responders out there. Thank you for your service here at home. And to everyone else out there, you're going to make mistakes. You're not going to be perfect. Things are going to go wrong. And when things go wrong, it's pretty easy just to say, you know what, I'm going to stand down, or I'm going to take a knee, or I'm going to give up. And you can do that. Or you can do what Tony would do, which is grab your gear and just
Grab a knife and
BTF
just
and
figure it out.
BTF until you get things back on track.
Yeah.
And that's what I recommend you do. So until next time, this is BTF Tony and Echo and Jocko. Out.